Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, one and all, to the Amateur Arena presented by AOE Esports. It is day number 7, the start of a fresh new week, week number 3, and we've got another fresh slate of players to check out here today. And joining me to take a look at those players will be Benji and Biora, if I have my directions pointed correctly here. You can tell me if Twitch chat if I'm not, but they will be bringing us through all of the action here today and highlighting the play of the players that you're about to see on your screen. If we can get that graphic up, we've got Dragoon, Perry, Strompest, Array, and Winter on one side, Speedo, LeenK, Five Fire, Kyle, and JayJ on the other side. So some returning names and some new ones for tonight as we come on back. Benji, Biora, welcome to the desk. What are you guys excited for tonight?
Thanks for having us. I really want to, so I'll just jump into it. So these are the things that I really want to see. These are things I'm excited to see. I want to see, specifically for Speedo's team, I want to see them dig into what should be the identity for their team based on the players they have on their team. So I really want to see them figure out a style that should have them playing more weak side, bot side, strong side, top side. Giving Speedo some carry champions, having their bot lane play more champions like Jinx, like Aphelios, etc., and then having Five Fire get unlocked in mid and playing towards top with LeenK. And then Dragoon's team kind of has different ways to play. I want to see some things for certain players. Like I want to see some games where their bot lane are playing the more meta sort of MF, Yuumi, Lucian, Nami kind of style, which is getting banned away right now. Unfortunate. But I want to see them play that because I think it's kind of out of their wheelhouse, and I want to see them, branch out and play these sorts of champs. And I want to see also some games where Dragoon is more weak-sided on champs that are off his comfort. So like champs that aren't really like the Juggernaut sort of stat check champs. Those are things I'm really looking forward to seeing in this series. So our draft is going on right now, so I guess we should talk about that. I guess Benji, if you want to take away some of the or like start talking about some of the draft stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke before the game, and we're pretty much looking to see like a lot of same things. Me and Biora. So mainly, I'm excited to see how he does. Darius, I know he's like a super good Darius player, but I'm always curious to see how he'll do on other champions, and that has already been banned out. Yeah, I'm really excited to see Perry play actually, because I was in an Uber the other day, and just by pure chance, my Uber driver was like Perry's Taekwondo teacher or something, and he was like really hyping it. So I'm excited to see this guy play. This will be my first time. It's gonna be great.
What do you think that... I don't know what they have prio on as far as first picks. I'm curious to see. Interesting. Okay. Teams are flipped from the way I had it in my head. So, which team has JayJ and...
JayJ is
Speedo's team, right?
JayJ is blue, yeah.
Right. This is kind of what I figured they were going to play, because just based on their champion pools, I figured they would play more towards the Enchanter sort of style. But I really want to see Winter's team play this actually. So I hope next game that, or unless they picked Lucian Nami this game, but Lucian's banned, so they can't.
Yeah, Winter doesn't really play like Enchanters and stuff, right?
Yeah, he's more of a
engaged champs
player. Yeah. I want to see him play sort of out of his wheelhouse.
MF makes sense. She's like best AD carry in the game right now by far, it seems like.
Yeah, I think so.
Based on what I've seen in Worlds, she's just crazy. I don't even think she got any buffs recently or anything like that. She's just...
she's just been strong for a really long time. She's been strong for a while actually. But
yeah, the thing is, like, she's just such a boring champion. Nobody wants to play her, so they just dropped her for all of summer just for fun, and now she's just back in the meta, just like that. It's beautiful to see.
Coming from the AD carry himself.
Nobody wants to play this champion.
Okay. Honestly, of all the junglers that I could see playing a champion like Kha'Zix,
there it is. Let's go.
yeah, it would be LeenK.
Perfect.
That does track, as the kids would say.
Yeah, this guy's a beast on Kha'Zix. Actually, I played a LAN with him.
Giving them TF too is really dangerous. Like, Five Fire could run the game on this champion actually.
Yeah, he really liked TF on a new, right? Or I guess they became no work this year, but I think he took us out with his TF.
Played a lot of TF, a lot of Zoe, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So this matchup is going to be basically TF is going to get shoved early parts of the matchup, and then around like level 7 for Silas once he gets like some points in W. There should be some room for play. It should be around like Rift Timer. So I think that they won't be able to contest. It depends on the bottom matchup, I guess. But I don't think that
is
Red
Silas
Team's gonna be able to.
Is Silas locked in? My draft is like
Yeah.
super laggy. I think I'm like 30 seconds
Oh, really?
behind yours. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah,
though.
so Silas is locked in. They're banning right now. They banned Camille.
So interesting. I mean, I feel like Silas should actually have like a really rough time versus TF. And,
He does,
and
yeah. The
Kha'Zix,
matchup is really
like-
hard for him. But
Yeah.
he has some play around like level 7, 8, 9. Once he starts putting points in W. But that's around like Rift
Yeah.
Timer, so they won't be able to contest.
Yeah,
very
they
much
better get like a
early.
really strong top laner here because I feel like with Ezreal bot lane and then taking this for the TF counter pick to like match his ults, it's like gonna be kind of useless with the way their draft is set up right now, personally. But if they can get a really strong, I think it'll be okay.
I think what they really need is actually, I mean, if they want any control around Dragon early, then they're going to want some sort of something that can help them get Prio bot, but I don't think they're going to be able to get it regardless.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get Prio as Ezreal against MF. I mean, it's a fine matchup for Ezreal. It's like good to outscales her, outranges her, but it's like gonna be pretty rough in lane. So I don't really see how they're gonna get Prio with anything they pick, unless they pick like a super lane dominant enchanter. But I don't think Winter wants to do that, and it's also really weird for Ezreal. Let's see more like a Braum maybe.
Yeah, but
or
there's
something like that.
It's not on the table
Right.
anymore.
Gotcha.
Braum and Rakan are off the table, which is kind
Makes
of,
sense.
which is would have given them, or Rakan would have
Right.
given them kind of what I was thinking, like some playability around bot. But curious what they're gonna pick. They're gonna blind support and then give Dragoon, yeah, Leona. That's kind of what I was thinking that they would
That
do.
makes sense. Yeah.
Gives them some play bot depending on how they play the lane, and then they could potentially contest. So that at the very least, Kha'Zix can't just do Dragon for free early, and they want to play more towards Rift Herald off of like Silas level 7 timer. It depends on what the top matchup is.
I'm really curious what he'll blind here. Can you see what's locked in for the
Is it
first?
locked? I can't tell if it's locked. I don't remember if the blue bar underneath is.
I think
But
that
they're like hovering Rel, I think.
Okay.
Oh no,
Rel
they
would
locked
make-
in Rel. Okay, they locked in Rel.
Yeah, Rel makes sense. Irelia.
Yeah.
Oof, yeah, that's.
So Aurelia
that's
is one of the
pretty
champs was
strong,
telling you
for
in
sure.
pre-game that Speedo plays like one of his carry champs. So this is kind of one sec.
Jax.
No shot. They lock in no fucking shot. They
Sinch
lock
would be
in-
interesting. Nar, I
No,
don't like
shot.
Nar. Don't
No
go Nar,
shot.
please. Please don't go Nar.
This
All
matchup.
right.
So I don't know this matchup, but the way it goes in my head is that Aurelia is going to have a little bit of trouble first few levels, and then she should be able to outscale pretty easily.
I mean,
But do you know the
I'm pretty
matchup?
sure.
No.
Yeah, Irelia just literally dumps on Nar the entire time. As far as I know, it's like a
no, it's set. You might be lagging a little.
oh
behind.
set. Okay, I'm just lagging. Gotcha. Okay, yeah, set versus Irelia is actually pretty good. Yeah, pretty much that should be winning like pretty hard early, and if Set gets jungle attention, then you can definitely shut down Irelia. It's also really good in team fights. Like it's so nice when Irelia throws her ult, and you just like ult her so she can't get any resets. It's super strong. Kind of like the new version of Renekton, you know, because Renekton is so weak now. So I think Set is like one of the only options.
I'm curious how they play this draft out. I feel like blue side has a lot more tools to win this game. Honestly, I think red side is really lacking in any sort of damage to kill a really late game. So I think that if blue team gets any sort of lead early and gets marginally ahead, then they're just going to snowball this game really hard.
Yeah,
I don't think
blue
the
side
red
looks like a free win to me for sure.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Especially, I think Blackfire is going to run the map really hard too this game.
Yeah, and this guy's gonna go too crazy on Kha'Zix.
I'd be
Too
too
good at this
surprised
champion.
actually if red team wins.
Yeah.
Who's doing? I guess we won't know until after the Oh fuck! Wait, are we going too fast? I'm looking at the stream right now, and they're just picking the champs now. Oh, word. Okay, sorry. First time doing this.
So we're done now, right?
Well, no. I think we wait until they kick us off until the next thing. Oh, I mean, we can go whenever. It depends on. I don't know if DJ like comes back in this segment or not, or if it's just us. But sorry, my first time. Yeah, sounds good.
Correct.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Summoner's Rift for the first game of the day here at the AOE Amateur Arena. I'm super excited, Rudude, as we are getting into this week's games, and as our analysts set us up beforehand, I think we've got a lot to look forward to. We had a chance to talk to them in between the draft and the game as well, and get a little bit more of a
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Where are you looking at for the people who have the most to do in this early game?
Yeah, I think that in these coming stages, the first 10 minutes or so, we're expecting this mid lane to be fairly fluctuant, fairly volatile in terms of what the guys are going to be able to accomplish. We've got TF versus Silas, which early on, Firefire should be looking to pressure Strompest out, use his ranged advantage in the early stages of the game, try and push in this Silas and make sure that he's got himself a nice advantage, either through CS, through gold, through push priority, and then trying to translate that over to LeenK and help out him getting double crabs, things like that, start a setup for those advantages. But at the minute, at this sort of early stage, right, we know that TF versus Silas can be fairly volatile, and if that jungle attention comes through on one side and isn't matched by the other, we could see a lot of danger.
Tracking going to be super important in the early stages, as well as we take a look towards the bot side. You can already see with who's got the first ward going down where the priority here should lie. We've got Kyle, also known as in this game Karasuno Setter. We'll be referring to him as Kyle, and he should be running the lane on the Misfortune, as anybody who is in solo queue who's faced up against this should know. And I'm expecting that to translate into a lot, especially come those team fight times when Misfortune can hit her item breakpoints first and can bully, as you can already see, this Ezreal Leona.
Yeah, he's done a really good job already so far with starting with the strut. That W gets a little bit of extra movement speed, more agency when trying to close that gap and get some auto attacks in onto the Ezreal here, DPM or Array, as we'll be referring to him as well. Got a little bit of a chunk out with PTA, doing fairly well already. This Ezreal Leona bot lane, we know it and we've seen it time and time again. Not really going to be doing a right lot in the early stages, and as we go later and later into the game, maybe expecting to see Winter start to roam up, take that mantle of second jungler, help out the rest of the team, help out Perry with getting some of those ganks, and try and influence these solo lanes that are going to be somewhat volatile. We know on the top side, Dragoon had the R5 counter pick, had that last open with the set to say, hey, this is the champion I want into the Aurelia, this is what I feel comfortable with, and if we get a bit of time for Winter to make a roam up to that top side, no reason he can't try and influence that lane as well.
Yeah, maybe going there relatively soon. Now, as the health bars have been falling lower and lower in mid lane, the junglers are starting to wrap up their clears, and they've gone for, I'll say, slightly odd ones even. LeenK just now doubling back from blue to Grump and then back into Wolves is going to end up around mid lane, where on the other side of this, Perry doesn't seem to be full clearing his jungle at all. Instead, took red buff and is going to go straight for that Scuttle Crab to try and snatch that one away from LeenK.
Maybe even going for a double effort, but with Prio on top side, this is just smart pathing from both of these junglers playing to their strong side, right? Dragoon, as we mentioned, R5 this set felt confident would be able to get the push, so Lee Sin goes up to the top side. Perry takes the top grab. Down in the bot lane, Misfortune does a lot more than Ezreal in the early stages. He's able to wrest control of the lane, and as such, we get to see LeenK move into the bot side, River take that grab, so fairly expected beginnings here. This is what we expect to see from these junglers in the early stages. And something as well that I just want to quickly throw a little shout out to was the E-start from Firefire on this Twisted Fate. Love to see it on a TF, just get a little bit of extra attack speed, and if you get that 5th auto harass coming through, can actually deal a large amount of damage at level 1 that sometimes your enemy may not be expecting.
Strompest's definitely been feeling the blunt edge of that one, as it has been real rough for him inside of the lane. And now, with Firefire having completed his second push into the tower, he's going to be able to reset. Does have the teleport, but should be able to walk back to lane as well. LeenK paying a little bit of a visit into the bot side, isn't going to find too much, is actually finding an engage for JayJ on this rel isn't just difficult now, but it's going to be difficult all game.
Yeah, we've got obviously some fairly high mobility champions along both sides, as Speedo's looking for a bit of a trade.
Yeah, just needs to dodge the Haymaker. Nicely done there. So Dragoon actually should die here with a huge minion wave as well. The flash away actually needs to be expended by him, and I'm surprised Speedo doesn't follow it up. But now that he gets the vision on Lee Sin, you can understand why he's going to be chased back to his own tower. In the bot side, we've got a little bit of trade as well, as the cleanse actually ends up getting used by Kyle. It looks like it's going to save him for now. Winter thinking about recommitting, but the health bars are getting low on both sides. I am surprised, though, that Kyle does not end up falling there, because Array and Winter, they were just on the edge of being able to take that one.
Exactly, and again, really well played micro mechanics from these guys. Winter, typically you'll see CC in combination with Ignite, but he recognizes the cleanse is there, doesn't want to get or give Kyle the opportunity to get double value, puts down the stun, waits for the cleanse to come through, then drops the Ignite, so that full damage is going to tick down, forces the flash as well out of Kyle. A really good sequence of events down on the bot side for Winter Dragon, our red side team here, coming out in that bot lane with a slight advantage in a lane that we'd already established. They really shouldn't be, particularly since we'd seen a little bit of action down there already. LeenK came down, burned the flash off of Winter, and made it so that they were going to be in an even worse position. Finding those summoners 2 versus 2, where we've still got Array, both summoners up and available, a very strong advantage for them now.
Speaking of summoners, we already know that up here on the top lane, Dragoon does not have the flash anymore, and it's going to be a 1v1 between him and Speedo, that one that Speedo should win, but oh lord, the last auto barely secures it for Dragoon in the top lane, knowing his limits, as in the mid lane, we've got yet another 1v1 for the ages. Strompest is going to try and finish this kill off, while in the bot lane, this kill is going to go down as Winter ends up falling. Q connects in the mid lane though, and under the tower does end up going Perry, picks up that kill, but gets it traded back 2 for 2 across the rift in a series of huge individual plays.
Yeah, just junglers coming through in every single instance, and I think we're going to get ourselves a little bit of a replay of that 1v1 on the top side. You can see Dragoon's level 5 for the majority of this play, and it's the level 6 ding that you're going to see in just a second that really ticks him over. He actually pulls the creeps in, it's the creep dying, the cannon goes down, Showstopper comes through, final auto even weaves his way into the brush as well, just to make sure that the minions don't finish him off. But it was a game of margins there, dear, just the slimmest of them that managed to give Dragoon the out in that 1 versus 1. And you'd already talked about the fact that there was a summon spell disadvantage. Once again, it proves not to matter, and the advantage goes the other way.
That's the thing that impresses me the most, is with less tools in his toolbox, the fact that you're able to find that 1v1 spells likely disaster for the top lane, is looks like mid lane's likely doomed as well. A very nice usage of the previously stolen ultimate there. Destiny takes Silas right on top of the Twisted Fate, and Firefire meets his untimely demise for the 2nd time in a row.
Yeah, I'm loving this attention from Perry in the early stages. Twisted Fate, an immobile mid lane. If he has no flash, there's no reason not to draw attention to it. And on the top side, it's Speedo who's in trouble.
Oh lord, the kick right out from under the tower as well is
nice.
barely rectified by the ability to get underneath the tower once again using that Aurelia. It is just in time though for Perry to find a little bit more top lane priority. Is he going to take a reset here is my big question, because we do have the Rift Herald up right now, and this would be big for red side.
It really would, but look who's on their way up to this top side. We've got Kyle already on his way from the base, looked to walk up to that top side, but as he sees on the map, okay, Winter Array there, neither one of them are moving their way up. That means I don't have to commit my time up there either. I can go down to this bot side, catch this wave, and because all those resources were expended in the top side by Perry, by Dragoon, it means that there's a very low chance that Kyle gets dove down on this bot side. Leona does have the setup, but at this early stage, Array trying to find the damage around the turret in particular with the W is a slight concern, and it means that Kyle's going to be able to get all of these minions for free, solo XP as well, looking pretty good for himself. And yes, we may see a plate go over to Array here, and as well as the Rift Herald in total going to Winter Dragon. Outside of that, it's not too bad overall. With a nice little move up from the blue side, they do get themselves a good advantage with that Herald.
Impressed that we didn't actually end up seeing the tower plate fall there as well, and it's good restraint from Array, knowing that he would have been putting himself in a little bit of danger, but unfortunately Winter does not seem to be on the same page as him. Instead, committing onto this misfortune, does burn the cleanse off Kyle once again, but pays for it with his life as a double roam down from the jungler and the mid laner is going to make this an even fight. But before that is correct, the last little bit of damage needs to connect onto Array. He ends up falling on this Ezreal. LeenK is chasing down Strompest, and Perry has no choice but to die inside the dragon pit. 3 really clean kills go over to the side of Speedo J.
Yeah, it's 4 in total. Remember, they caught out Winter at the start of that. He's already respawned to come back into this matchup, and this is that little sequence of events you get to see right there, that with no Leona, no frontline tank in these early stages that can be so powerful, this fight never even looks close. Yes, Strompest manages to finish off 1 kill, but overall with JayJ going down, you do not care if you are the blue side. They're going to be more than happy with those kills picked on up. They find themselves now with a slight gold advantage as well, and they've put themselves right in charge of this early game.
I was quite worried there, actually, seeing the likes of a Lee Sin and a Silas roam down. Those guys do love to skirmish around this time, especially, but the isolation in the fight there, and I don't just mean it to sort of ping the Kazakhs passive for all of us, but really the separation and the different fronts that they had to fight on, as well as the fact that the Misfortune Ultimate did such a good job of separating Red Side, means that it is an uphill battle at the best of times. That, coupled with the fact that Winter had already gone down, makes me wonder if they're going to be able to find fights like this again later, because that might have been their best shot.
And of course, when you do go looking for those picks, looking for those plays, roaming through the enemy jungle, you have to start to try and be cognizant of things like Twisted Fate ulti, maybe just a lapse in judgment, maybe thinking, hey, Strompest has the push, I can roam down. Not quite sure of the wave state in that instance, but still, if I sack the wave to make the play, that's something that you'd love to see out of the mid laners. Now they're just going to find a big fight.
Wow, that was a really nice engage as well. We said that it might be a little bit of a struggle for JayJ, but clearly it is not. Double knock-up in the bot lane converts into 2 nicely lined up kills. The kill score is 8-4 right now. The bot lane is being run by Team Speedo J, and for a team that needed to get ahead early, I don't think Red are too happy right now.
Not in any way. They're doing, well, they're not doing the best of jobs, honestly. There is an attempt on this top side, though. Perry is there, but they don't have the agency just yet to find that kill. Dragoon did have flash and ulti. Didn't feel confident enough to go for the play to try and pull the Aurelia back into danger. But you can see Perry's wrapping around now, looking to try and amass that advantage.
All right, well, under the tower we go. See if we can deny a wave from Speedo with a nice flash away and a stun. Might have him answering this one right back. Perry is going to go low, but it should not be enough as Speedo ends up falling. No trade back is going to occur. Instead, 5-Fire might end up going down. Perry flashes into the tower, cleans that one up with the Iron Spike whip passive, and does get to continue out from under this tower, getting a lot of plates for his top laner, but giving up the dragon.
And this is where Winter Dragon had sort of put all their eggs in the draft basket. Remember, this is Ezreal on the bot lane. They're not expecting to play through the bot side. We've seen Perry time and time again look at these top-sided plays. Once Speedo was able to get away with it, the second time, though, not quite able to. Kyle does have Gale Force and he's got a big item lead.
Oh Lord, I am not feeling confident about that matchup any day of the week, and neither am I about this one, as we've got what looks like a 2v2 right now, since Winter's gonna have to disengage, but a knock-up and a Destiny, teleport is gonna make that a 2v3, and very quickly a 3v0, as 2 more kills find their way into the pockets of Speedo J. Really nicely played from them, and I can't help but feel like Winter Dragon, they're getting a little bit sloppier as the game goes on.
Just overextending a little too much there. They stick around on the top side play for a bit too long, and Fi is able to find teleport, able to come through, pick up those kills and amass that lead right back in, undoing all of the hard work of the top side that Dragoon had tried to put down. Now they've got 3 members on the top side themselves. Diving a set, a notoriously difficult task, particularly when he's got flash available, so they do hold off for the time being. But you can already see Speedo J, they've got themselves 2 dragons to their name. They've got a gold lead, they've got pretty much everything they could have wanted out of this early game, with those neutral objectives going in their favor, with the gold lead being in their favor. The later we get into this game, you look across at Winter Dragon and they've got themselves a couple of carries here. I want to draw your attention to Array, because on the Ezreal has the agency this time round to maybe be able to 1v9 or hold it though, because Speedo's in trouble.
I was going to say he may be the only one, although Dragoon is getting fed as well, which could spell really nice things for the side of Winter Dragon. He's already got quite a bit of damage, as we can see, assisted by that Leona. Going to be helped by the fact that he gets the first tower of the game there, so even more gold piling into this top side. Both he and Perry are looking pretty nice for the foreseeable future. This mid game should be all them. In comes Perry with another kick, and Fire gets a really nice value there, but isn't going to be enough to save his life, it doesn't look like, as the teleport, rather Destiny, is going to end up finishing him off. Strompest gets that kill, and we'll see if LeenK can get this one.
Doesn't look like it though. I mean, he is in a 1v3 scenario. Perry happily able to hop away to safety. Kind of surprising, honestly, the amount of priority that Winter Dragon have around this top side. Able to take down first brick in the top lane. Again, not what we were expecting. They get mid lane tier 1 as well off the back of a nice quick kill. So they've done very well for themselves, righting the ship a little bit here, putting themselves within touching distance of that gold lead. We were expecting to see bot side priority out of Speedo J. Question now becomes in this game whether they can leverage their MF lead enough. We can see a distinct disparity between the sides of the map. Winter Dragon have got this very strong set on the top side, 3-0-1 up against a 0 and 3 Aurelia, whereas on the other side we've got Speedo J, who they've got themselves 3-0-4 Kyle on this Misfortune, looking like he's going to be able to be their carry for their team, and Array has kind of been left in the dirt, similarly with Winter. The power of the Leona though, that she's still going to have agency this game, and whilst we may well see Array down in the dumps for a little bit here, Ezreal at some point in this game, dear, and I'm not saying that it's close, at some point is going to start being able to dish out damage.
Yeah, it's this inevitable fact of life in at least this match that Array will be able to 1v9 eventually. We just don't know when that hits, and it's going to be likely accelerated by some kills if he can pick those up, but it is all about Kyle right now, or Karasuno Setter as it says on your screen, and I want to draw attention, Rudude, to the fact that he's ended up building a Gale Force, because I really like that.
Yeah, obviously gives him another excuse to get away from Leona engages, things like that. Means he doesn't have to burn the cleanse on those, or that he can in fact. So Dragoon and Speedo now with a little bit of help on this top side should just be a quick kill over to the blue side.
Looks like we're going to be able to convert this one. It's not going to be the 1-for-1 though. Speedo takes that one more tower shot, and Strompest would need to finish it off, but will not be able to. Instead, taking the 1v2, could put himself in a little bit of danger. He's going to get a lot of healing back though. Uses the Rel ultimate to buy some time, keep people around, but instead, he's bought time for Kyle to move all the way up to the top side, and I wonder, Rooted, if they're going to stay around, because the health bars are low, and we can see that Winter Dragon were making moves.
Yeah, they're dipping, and your question becomes, right, we committed 4 people up to the top side. What are the enemies getting for this? Answer, honestly, not a right lot. They were able to, push in this mid wave, but a really good setup from Speedo J meant that there was nothing really to get around the rest of the map. Fire sat bot lane. Now they're going to reset. They've got 16 seconds on this dragon. Remember that they've had 2 picked up already. They're more than happy to seed this one because they're not going to be going on to Soul Point or anything like that. So they go for the play on the top side. They don't get the turret, so overall, right, they don't get the most profit out of their investment, but they still find some source here, and they do shut down Dragoon, who was the highlighted player that we came to in the early stages of this game to say, hey, they've put all their eggs in this basket to begin with. Let's see if it pays off, and with him going down, that's a nice tick in the checkbox for Speedo J.
The shutdown going to be worth a lot as well, and no matter who it goes on to there, Speedo, LeenK, 5Fire, it is all a win, right? You're either getting the Aurelia back into even, you're snowballing the Kha'Zix more, you're giving this TF more autonomy in the side lane where he now has to be against Dragoon, and it seems like it's working out as the Rift Herald is going to get dropped and is likely going to get a second charge right now. We'll see if they actually end up helping it in. Unlucky. Shelly will rest in peace. We'll have to wait until not even later this game, but next game to see her once more.
And we get to see if 5Fire really can handle himself in this 1v1. It looks like Dragoon does back away just a little bit, and for the time being, it's actually LeenK in trouble. Nice use of the Void Assault right there to get himself out to safety, and may well get closed in on by the roam up from Winter. Not got Moby Boots, so it's not too easy, but overjudging himself a little bit here, he's going to go down.
Okay, yeah, well, we'll see how much time he could buy, as that's really what it's about right now. Maybe he can clean up some CS, but now is when I would say that we can look at the rest of the map and see what's going down in the meantime, because this is a lot of time that's being bought. If he does get executed, even better, but look at the amount of members that are being committed to the bot side as well. Speedo may be able to get an additional kill here on top of the already very nice set, especially with the help of his friends.
Yeah, well, they should be able to pick this one up. Dragoon actually trying to turn it 1v3 here. Not quite going to be able to do it. A little bit of misexecution on the bot side. A little bit of this, wayward synergy maybe that you get to see with these thrown together teams in the amateur arena. Speedo and JayJ there, a little bit mistimed on the Rel E stun. Really good to see them binding together, but then Speedo dashes out as that stun comes through. Almost sets up for the return kill in the 1v3. Dragoon not quite able to execute on that entirely, and in the end it is a 1-for-1 across the map with a lot of resources committed top side by one team, resources committed bot side by the blue side. Overall, nothing too untoward as everybody sort of shakes hands and says, okay, we're going to kill one another now, and that's about it for the time being. Scores 12-9, gold still just slightly in favour of Speedo J, as you would expect with these extra kills in their back pocket and of course Twisted Fate on their team. These are the sort of things that start to amass you these small advantages, but by no means is this game out of control just yet.
No, and actually that's the thing that should scare you if you are a Winter Dragon fan right now, because if you're looking at red side and hoping that they're going to be able to pull this out, it's got to be off the back of what is now a very chaotic team fight. They've got to be able to pull apart the game plan from Speedo J, because the very fact that they don't have a significant gold lead is harming them with what is otherwise a very mid-game centric composition.
We can see if they can pick up Strompest though, caught out.
And get a little bit of a heal back as ultimate from Kyle does get expended. 5Fire forces the cleanse right back though, and a big Rel ultimate isn't going to be enough. This is the chaotic team fight we were talking about, and it falls right into the hands of Winter Dragon inside of their own jungle. 20 minutes on the clock, and the fact that they just picked up the jungler and the mid laner might actually spell this Baron.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the set to dish out a little bit of DPS here. They've got Winter to run anchor and make sure that nothing happens. Doesn't look like there's going to be anything to be said here. Does look at this re-engage, though, because 5Fire just a little bit short on catching Strompest. He has the range there, but doesn't quite go onto the right targets. But back to life, they peeled off the Baron and they picked up Kyle.
That's unfortunate for you on the side of Speedo J, but we'll find out if it actually was worth it, because as you see right now, the resets have to come in for Winter Dragon. Now that LeenK is back, that 5Fire is going to be up, the death from Kyle is well worth it because it keeps red side from being able to do the Baron.
Yeah, you just have to trade yourself in those situations, right? It's a death on your AD carry, which never looks great. It is also a shutdown that goes over to Winter Dragon, and you have to bear that in mind that it wasn't just a kill, it was a bit more of a bounty on that kill as well. But overall, the pros and cons of not giving them the Baron Nashor is obviously vastly outweighed by the fact that you give over a kill on Kyle here. For the time being though, looks like Speedo J are going to return their attention down to this bot side, make sure that there's some setup for this Drake, because LeenK is himself in a bit of trouble.
And this doesn't look like it's going to be going too well for him, although he does manage to get out alive. 5Fire might pay for it. Exhaust ends up going down to buy him a little bit of time as Strompest starts to herald them in. LeenK does end up going down, followed by his support, JayJ, who's going to meet his untimely demise as well. Now, again, moving up towards the top side. You pick the jungler, you pick the support. I think this time you end up getting away with the Baron.
Slightly different set of kills though. Firefire provides much more to this situation than JayJ will. Those long range stuns mean that it's not as easy to set up for this Baron. May well just be a Drake take instead. Play their cards safely. They don't want to tipple the scales in the wrong direction if they do get caught out on this Baron. So it looks like it's just going to be a Cloud Dragon take, give them their second one of the game. And with this composition as well, and with you know, all compositions, but in particular a team with a Leona, with a Lee Sin, so reliant on using those ultimates to find picks, having that extra little bit of ability haste is never going to feel bad.
No, really, really nice for them, actually. And I would say that it's still a building block in a much larger castle, and not one that is made up of dragons, but one that is made up of fights. The fact is that Speedo haven't been able to put together exactly the sort of wombo combo that they'll need yet on multiple members, and that does give Winter Dragon the continual option to keep extending this game and keep making it potentially 50-50 fights as long as they're able to orchestrate these correctly. Zanya's picked up by Strompest is going to give him a lot of stall time, but we've got to look out as over the wall, a little bit of damage is going to come in, but no full commitment from Speedo.
No, and all of these fights, dear, they've been around vision. They've not been around particular objectives, right? We haven't seen any postures for these big neutrals to go over just yet. It has been, hey, this person's caught out on a ward. Let's see if we can pick them first. So this vision, and what I want to see is teams start to really combine, right? Typically, you want to see a tandem pairing of the support and jungler. That's sort of your lethal vision powerhouse duo. Maybe you could pull in your mid laner, your support, or your AD carry, somebody else just to shore up that 3-man, 2-man roaming squad to make sure that you've got the vision down and make sure that those engages for the enemy team look just a little bit worse here. Now we are starting to see some more generic lane assignments as Dragoon and Firefire have made their way down to the bot side. Dragoon doesn't have TP yet, so the onus is on Speedo to maybe try and make themselves a bit of a play down or up on the top side where Firefire can make a teleport, make that destiny movement and draw a numbers mismatch in favor of the blue side.
I actually really like that at the same time Winter Dragon are the ones respecting this. They end up backing off, and with this faux priority that you get because of Twisted Fate's ability to rotate, the vision gets laid down, and that sets us up for, you know, you said it earlier, Rudude, more fights that have constantly been around who can see what. So now that we've got Speedo in the best position up towards the top side, we're likely going to see another engagement go down over there as Perry wants to take a 1v1 against the Kazakhs. Might be spelling a little bit of trouble for himself as he thinks about recommitting. Knows that he's in a tough spot, but Strompest is coming in to back him up and will now fully commit on top of the rel. Gale Force does end up taking Misfortune to safety, though, as Kyle's going to be able to survive. Never mind, I spoke too soon. Over the wall come Array and Winter to assassinate him, and slowly but surely, this is going to be Speedo getting picked apart.
Yeah, misposition there from Kyle, gets caught out by Winter and able to find that quick pickup. Winter Dragon with 3 kills on the top side of the map. This one, dear, this time it should be the Baron. They found these picks before, they found these sets of kills, but with one extra member going down and once again LeenK falling, there's no smack to contest, and if somehow Firefire and JayJ are able to steal this one, I'll be very surprised.
Firefire likely just going to die here to try and buy some time, but it's not going to stop his death, and it's not going to stop the Baron. Now, big tempo advantage actually going to red side. The gold may not be that different just yet, not game decidingly different, but the fact that now they can play the map on their terms is something this composition is extraordinarily lucky to have.
I'm so happy you brought up the gold, dear, because if we look at the map, there are so many economy turrets still standing, 2 side lane inner turrets, and outer turret as well in the bot lane. There's so much standing gold on this map that Winter Dragon should just be able to move around Summoner's Rift, pick that up and open up that gold lead. This should be a really huge Baron power play for them, so that if they aren't able to, you know, win the game off of this sort of Baron push, they'll put themselves in a position where they have the gold lead in future fights, future instances, so once they found their resets, gone back to base and leverage that gold lead to be able to take the game, take a fight and just end this one quite quickly. A nice sort of situation for them to find themselves in. Question now becomes, can they take these turrets easily, or do they put up a bit of a contest from blue side?
You know, I tell you what, Rudude, there's something else that's been nagging at me as well, and that is that these fights actually haven't been around Array on the Ezreal. I was expecting him to, maybe at this point in the game, start popping off, but it's not a problem that he hasn't, because with the Baron power play, with all the economy that you talked about, Ezreal's going to get super duper strong now, and if Speedo are already losing fights without that, man oh man, you have yet to see the suffering that can come with a lot of poke from very far away.
Yeah, and I think that it's a really good time to talk about the power curves as well, right? This Ezreal is just going to get stronger and stronger where the rest of his team may be decreasing. Winter flies forward.
That was maybe unexpected. There is a
the team fight.
The other side gives Kyle a big opportunity to channel the ultimate. Does end up going down for it though, and it looks like it has not been enough, as still in the backline, Array is very much alive, and Strompest in the front line is murdering everyone. 4 members of Speedo J fall, and you said that they might not be able to end the game. It's leaning towards that they should be able to now, with almost no members of Speedo J available.
Yeah, Baron and an AD carry should be enough to try and close this one out. It's going to be close death time as 20 seconds left here. I mean, this should just be game right now, Dia. The team fighting actually turns around on them. Dragoon with a big fight. They may just be able to take this one right here.
Yeah, there we go. Last auto is going to land, and Winter Dragon, despite having the composition they needed to spike earlier and having us arrive in the mid game with a pretty even gold state, I think showed us some really, really good stuff around their control in team fighting in the late game.
I mean, yeah, you gotta give credit over to the red side there. They did a very good job just in general at making these plays happen at the right times and clawing their way back into this game, right? They were down a bit of gold early on, but good picks around neutral objectives, around vision as well. Set them up. I really like the fact that they didn't overextend for any plays either. Constantly, they looked at the Baron and said, no, this is a bad idea. Let's pull off at the right times. But when they did go for the Baron, they got it, and they weren't able to just claw a load of economy back into their back pockets. They just won the game off it.
Yeah, I think we were talking in the mid game, or I want to say early game, about how they were overextending just a little bit, and I like that they ended up doing it then, because it meant that later on they were like, okay, I understand it. We can't just grade the Baron right now. We will get collapsed on. There's a lot of global pressure. They experienced it early and were able to adapt really well. Now I want to see how they can adapt moving forward into the series, because both sides are going to try and come out with a win in game 2. It is the best of the best fighting it out here in the amateur arena. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to pop back into our analysts to see what they thought of game 1.
Welcome back to the analyst desk, ladies and gentlemen. After a very frenetic and hectic game number 1 here on day 7 of the amateur arena, once again joined on the desk by Benji and Biora, and we'll start with the early game, gentlemen. Right, we have very specific compositions trying to do very different things, and you noticed a couple of things in the early game that were going well for blue side, but also a couple of things that did not go so well.
We've still got Array, both summoners up and available. A very strong advantage for them now.
Top lane, I think
Speaking of summoners, we already know that up here.
Especially with Kha'Zix is pathing away from him, I think that he, in the first few levels of his matchup, I think he traded a little bit too much health. I was really happy to see that he is able to bring it back around level 5 or 6. But I think that wasn't played super well. And then
this fight here was crazy. The one that's being showed right now, like it felt like the way that this started was like so random and uncontrolled. Ended up not even like mattering too much, I guess, in the end. But yeah, I think that was like the theme of like a lot of this game. Like, I don't think they really played to their win conditions. You're talking about the Irelia matchup. Irelia honestly played, a little bit too dangerous for the first few levels, but she picked it back up and burned Set's flash, which was huge in that matchup. Like, really hard to do. So I was like really happy for him on that. But then he fumbled really hard and got solo killed by the Darius once he got back to lane, even though he had flash advantage. And he didn't use his flash in that duel. And if he did, I'm pretty sure he would have just killed Set. Could have been a completely different game. If you're going to play in a matchup like that, you need to literally just outplay your opponent from the other side. It's just how it is. The Set is like a skill check. It is a difficult matchup, but had to keep it more stable for sure.
Yeah. What were you saying about... Are you talking about this? Where are we in the game right now? This replay is showing 13 minutes.
This is, this is a little bit later.
It's a little bit later in the game. I don't know if you guys have a replay from like earlier in the game. Should be around 6 minutes. But we were talking about the Leona roam timer. There were a few things that could have happened, I think. There's 2 things. One of the things I was saying was I think that if Set managed his wave better, they could have punished Aurelia more with the Leona timer. And then Ben, you were talking about Leona's usage of fog and how she could have stayed out of vision.
I think just in general, like, so I mean, I don't have like the right replay to look at, but in this matchup, like Ezreal Leona versus MF Raul, the MF is just always going to have an advantage. She's such a strong laner. I feel like they should have gone in understanding like really more what the Ezreal's for. He's just there to like soak up a 1v2 while Leona roams. I spoke about it before, but Rel can't really roam like nearly as well as Leona. She's just so strong at like trading flashes or like flashing for a free kill. If she had just shown up and fought around like the set and the Silas more early game, I would have been like pretty happy with that because Ezreal took a CS deficit, lost plates, eventually lost his tower anyways. But it feels like they didn't get rewarded nearly as much as they could have for that. And you know, we saw Leona at like 14 minutes. She did the dive on Irelia. I think that they could have looked for things like that sooner in the game. It ended up not mattering because I think overall there's a lot of sloppy things going on. But I think I would have liked to see that.
Yeah, and I think we're getting
the way this game. Oh, you go. Sorry.
No, so no, go ahead there, Bior.
I was just gonna say. I mean, the way the game ended up playing out is red team outfought blue team because blue team wasn't setting up good fights for themselves. They needed to play more on side lanes with the TF, but they were kind of just like getting caught or like overextending or thinking that the enemy's overextending and try to collapse, and then they just get womboed or like destroyed. Not
Yeah,
womboed, but, like,
I think we're on a similar theme, right? We're kind of noticing that there was some sloppy play in the early game, and while they seem like small things, right, that you guys are mentioning, they build up a bit of chaos in this game as it goes on, and as the chaos progresses, it's the red side that thrives in it with this composition that they've drafted for themselves, right?
For sure, yeah. They did end up
I think it's
driving.
dependent on the way that the map is played. Like if the chaos is happening, when the team is being pulled, like if blue team is pulling around red team, and that's the chaos, then that's different, right? Then blue team is thriving. But yeah, if they're just fucking, duking it out, then red team can for sure take fights the way they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, blue needed to be really strict in order to win the game. I did think they had an advantageous draft for getting ahead, and they had the ability to like keep the lead as well with their draft. But as soon as things started getting like too crazy and they just let team fights happen, they don't have team fighting champions. MF and Rel are very good, but there's no Wombo on the rest of the team. They needed Irelia to be strong enough to split push, and when Irelia wasn't strong enough, in my opinion, they should have started using Kha'Zix in a side lane and figured out some way for maybe like TF, MF, and Rel to like group and maybe just make Kha'Zix the split pusher because he was super fed and it felt like he could probably lane against Set or Silas better than the Irelia. I would have liked to see that just as like a last ditch effort, but um, they just ended up team fighting and falling apart. So
Yeah, I agree.
Falling apart a little bit on the early game strategy for the Blues side. So as we do get into game number 2 then, gentlemen, if you are this blue side falling down in game number 1, what are you looking to change? What are some adaptations you think you can make? Do you stick with a similar composition and just try to clean up your play, or are we looking for a little bit of a different look?
I mean, I think they just need to clean up the play. Realistically, I don't think that the comp was an issue. I think the comp was actually really good, but things that I want to see as far as like see myself, just see. I want to see Dragoon not on, Set, Darius, these champions that are just like stat check champions that are like they're like spacing champions. I want to see him more on like a mobile champion that has to like be a little bit more have a little more finesse. I want to see which team are they on? Array and Winter. I want to see them on a bit of a different archetype of bot lane. Not like Rel, or sorry, not like Leona Ezreal, more on like Enchanter kind of thing. Those are the main things I want to see. I also want to see a game where, like in that game, for example, like City started off with a big lead. I want to see a game where he doesn't have a really big lead and then he manages to bring it back. So that's not like something I could ask for, but that's one thing I want to see, which I guess makes it maybe that's weird to say on stream, but that's something I'm looking for.
Hey, I mean, specific wants. If you want it, right, you can ask for it and maybe it will be delivered. Benji, anything from you?
Yeah, I would like to see like Speedo play another skill match up top and just see if he can get the better of Dragoon this time because it was really close. Like that was one auto attack away from the whole game being different. Once he got snowballed on, he was just useless for the rest of the game. But I think he should keep trying to play those kinds of champions and just step it up a little bit. Yeah.
All right, so a little bit of a run back for blue side and maybe some changes to the composition for red side. See if they can expand on the 1-game lead that they currently have in our 3-block series tonight. But with that, we will be taking a short break before we get ready for game number 2. So stick around here on the Amateur Arena presented by AOE Esports. Welcome back, everybody. We are back with the analyst desk as we prepare for game 2 between Team Winter Dragon and Team Speedo J, as dubbed by our production staff here today. That does mean, of course, that we are swapping sides from game number 1. So Team Winter Dragon on red side in game 1, they took the win. They will now be on blue side. Team Speedo J, they will move on over to the red side. We already heard some changes requested from Biora and Benji. Do you guys what do you guys expect, I guess, from at least a Winter Dragon with that B1 priority now in their hands?
I mean, I'm hoping it's also the misfortune, but it could be a few things, but I'm hoping it's, I guess, the misfortune, because it's kind of like what I was saying before. I really want them to play the sort of meta bot lane style.
Yeah, I'd love to see Misfortune banned too, so I don't have to see Misfortune. I feel like she really is just such a simple, straightforward champion. She just seems to win every matchup right now. Yeah, I don't think Ezreal was it though. Like, Ezreal is okay versus MF, but I'd like to see something else. Didn't feel like he really had too much impact on the game until the game had already been like flipped in their favor.
All right, so maybe a little more interesting of a bottom lane we're looking for. We are getting into draft, as you can see on screen, so it is time for that game 2 draft. Karthus, the first ban away. This one looks like it's a takeaway from LeenK, I would imagine. And Yuumi, of course, the cat that's been ruining everyone's lives. That one's taken away on red side. I just got to get your personal opinions. What's your opinion of the UV, like through Worlds, through current meta? Are you fans, not fans?
I mean, the champ is really good, but it's stupid. Like,
It's just such a frustrating champ to have in the game.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I share that sentiment. I definitely share that sentiment. Was not happy to see DK first pick it on blue 1 for first game of Worlds, because that meant a lot more cat. Fortunately, we won't see it in game number 2. We also won't see the Lucian that was banned away in game number 1. Graves similarly taken off the table, and these are pretty similar bans from Winter Dragon. They'll actually take away the Aurelia from Speedo despite the performance in game 1.
Curious what they're going to first pick. I don't actually know. The meta is like changing slightly. I don't know what first pick is looking like right now.
I think I'm
They like
super
champ.
behind on draft from you guys again, but it's okay.
Oh, really?
Oh, there we go.
What's your timer on blue pick?
It's 6 now, but it just like teleported there. Just did 2 bans at once. There's the MF.
This
Classic.
person seems-
Everybody
yeah,
loves
classic.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Darius is up. Could get
Yeah, maybe
crazy
on
this
3.
game.
Maybe on 3. But I don't
Yeah.
think that. I mean, it depends on the drafts, and I don't know if they really want to pick it on 3. Like, that seems a little troll. I feel like they're just gonna save Darius ban for 4-5. Okay.
What do we got
I
there?
want to see if he's played it. And let me look at his solo queue account. I'm kind of curious if he's played it in solo queue. He really hasn't.
We got a Kiana Ezreal on the R1
Red
R2
side,
Benji red side.
Beauty. Same matchup again. I mean, it does make sense. Like, I'm not too up to date on the meta, but I mean, Ezreal is good at like surviving lane against MF. Like, really boring being on the Ezreal side. You're just AFK farming, but it does give your support so many opportunities to roam. So I would like to see like just like an Alistar or like a Nautilus or just something that can roam really efficiently, and so the Ezreal is not completely wasted this time. They had a Leona last time. It just didn't get used too much.
Yeah, Leona.
I was going to say, I think that out of the 2 players between Array and between Short Kyle, I think that Kyle is the better Ezreal player as far as stylistically. So I think that that should. Oh, they hovered Darius. What the fuck? I think that should bode well more for red side on the Ezreal pick. As far as like how
Yeah.
to play side.
Alternatively, I guess they could go like Braum here. Braum would be really successful against their 3.
Braum
I don't know if
Yeah, Jay is also really freaking good on Braum too.
Braum would make sense to me. Like, wouldn't be able to roam obviously, but
just
they
locked
could
it in.
make the game around them. They locked it in.
Yeah, they just locked it.
Yep, makes total sense. I think now they just need to get like a Kennen or like a Gnar or. Oh wait,
Yeah.
My champ select is so laggy. I thought blue team still had Darius. Just became Xin Zhao on my screen. Okay. Yeah. Well, Ezreal Braum is.
I mean, unless they ban TF here or on the next ban, they'll do like a TF. What is top lane? Let me see what the. Let's see what Dragoon. No, not Dragoon. His Speedo, right? I need to see what Speedo plays.
I would be really worried about whatever mid laner red side is picking, because Ezreal Braum is a good weak side, but like they're not going to get Primal.
Yeah, they had to ban. That's what TF is the one that I thought they wanted, but they banned it. So
makes sense.
It's probably going to be like. It can't be Zoe, right? Like that's too. I feel like that's too.
I was gonna say like maybe LeBlanc would not be too bad. Like just having something with no mobility against Leona Zan is gonna be super difficult for any mid laner to play against.
That's why I don't
just something with it. Yeah.
Also too like over index on like just super super high range poke. Which I don't think you really. You're not gonna get that much benefit out of, especially if it's like they're just gonna have Leona Zan just like fuck on you. So.
I really don't like the GP here personally. Not a huge fan. It just feels like GP has to be the strong side this game, but like I don't think GP is overly successful as like a strong side that you play for, because there's not many opportunities to dive whatever he's against. Most times he's usually a weak side champ.
I really don't like them picking their top laner here when they could pick their mid lane. Like finding mid lane is way better.
Well, yeah, with Ezreal Braum, you need to counter pick top, in my opinion. You need to have a strong side top. Ezreal Braum, we're not going to do anything other than farm. This seems so strange to me. I'm really confused. I guess if they get a really good counter pick mid dog, it could be fine too. It's like, it's so hard to get that really good counter pick being against Leona and Zane, right? The optimal counter pick might not be able to survive.
The counter pick mid is not going to get them a lot of like value.
I think they should have gone LeBlanc. I think they should afford LeBlanc all day. I think it was like the most valuable champion available.
No, they can't. They can't, and the reason why they can't is because fucking Vex exists, and that champ you cannot.
Okay.
You just
I forgot about that.
Yeah, we just go Vex then, right?
There it is.
Okay.
Oh wait,
then I'm fine with this draft. I'm fine with this draft. Because I think Vex seems like insanely strong to me. I don't know how she's
the only champion that can enable the draft that they picked on red side is actually Vex. Because she actually makes it really hard for Zen and Leona and went on to play.
Yeah, that must have been their condition. They're probably gonna like fuck you LeBlanc if they didn't take it, and then just Vex and LeBlanc. So yeah, I like it.
That's funny.
The Cho counter pick, pretty good against GP, but I mean GP is just gonna farm. GP is like actually pretty good against like 4 out of 5 of their champs, so seems like a fine pick.
I think if they didn't pick Vex, their team comp really struggles. Like
it would have been, in my opinion, it would have been really bad,
really hard.
Yeah, so I mean the whole win con is literally just Vex in this draft. It's Kiana and Vex are the only people that can make any sort of plays happen. So
they have to like really just fist mid, and then
they gotta go crazy.
And just scale up basically.
Meanwhile, blue has like such a chill time. Like they could win through any lane. I don't know how bad the LeBlanc Vex matchup is for LeBlanc, but like
it's fucking bad.
Okay,
unplayable, absolutely unplayable. Because think about how LeBlanc has to play. Like she has to use her body to clear the wave, and if she ever W's into the wave, like Vex just fears her, and it's so fucked. It's so annoying.
I would imagine Cho is really good against Vex.
Against Vex?
I would think so, because Vex is like she's diving in melee range, right? And Cho can do something.
Well, I mean, Vex is a ranged, like not artillery mage, but she's like a ranged mage. Like I don't think that Cho would be that good against.
Really?
Her. I don't think so.
She has to dive in to do her damage in team fights, though, no?
In team fights, sure, but I think that Cho just get fucked so hard in lane. But I mean, I think that maybe.
Oh yeah, I'm just talking about
the game
team fights,
fails, right? Maybe, but.
Yeah, I'm purely talking about team fights for that.
Oh right, okay. I thought you meant like putting him in lane. I was like,
no, that sounds horrible. Yeah, that sounds
that's why I was so confused. I was like, what?
I just feel like it'll be interesting to see team fights, because Cho will just be sitting there on whoever Vex ults and just gonna be like, yeah, try it, you know? I feel like that's what's gonna happen.
I mean, the thing is, I don't think Vex really wants to play like that though. Like Vex will play like that for cleanup, like, but I don't think that she wants to be Like, I don't think there's ever a situation where she's gonna ult someone and the enemy team is going to be sitting there like, yeah, do it. It's gonna be more like they're all running away from because the fight's over and they're trying to leave, like, kind of thing.
True.
Because that's just the way that team comp needs to play. Like, they want enemy team to come into them, so they don't want to be like, you know, Vex should never be like an engaged champion. That'd be crazy.
Yeah. So I think blue has like way more opportunities to get ahead, but red has like a way better comp.
I think that blue has the easier comp for sure. I think that blue, I mean, in these sorts of like amateur arena kind of things, I think blue team should win just on the basis of like their team comp is way easier to execute as far as like team fight wise.
Yeah.
But in a high skill game, red team has the tools to deal with blue team's comp.
All right, so ease of execution on the blue side, got a lot of tools on the red side. You mentioned already that they kind of have to play through Vex. You know, do you see them being able to hang with blue side in a team fight at all?
Not right away, but I mean, realistically, blue side shouldn't, unless they get really good angles, like they set up really good vision on, like, you know, what are they called? Like side paths. Sorry, my brain. But like if they get good flank or like good angles of attack, essentially, then blue team can fight against red team's comp. But I think that for the most part, especially if they're going head on, blue team should not be able to fight red team's comp starting at like level 11. Like it should be not really super possible.
Yeah, I think like blue is gonna want the first 2 dragons and the first herald. If they can do enough of those things, then it should actually be pretty hard for red to win. But red, I mean, they just want to chill and farm and just try to like soft contest as many objectives as possible. Try to make sure nothing's given away like completely free, and like they're scaling, they're winning. Ezreal, you know, once he gets that 2 core, GP gets 2 core, Vex gets 2 core. All of them, I feel like, are just impossible to deal with for blue past a certain point. But blue can easily stop them from getting to that point.
Yeah, onus is entirely on blue to put the pressure on early and make plays. You know, dive plays, bot lane specifically, are going to be really good for them if they can get them off with Zinja, Leona, LeBlanc, if she can get there. Like, those plays are going to be really important. And like you said, collecting the early objectives, because those should be those early objectives. Like the first 2 dragons, Herald, should be blue teams for free. So they really need to get those on time, and then they might be able to win through dragon stacking or just getting a, you know, massive gold lead off of Rift Herald or dive plays.
Alrighty then, sounds like the onus then is on Team Winter Dragon to keep the momentum that they have been building with their first win of the day, but looks like Speedo J will have a chance as this game goes on and they scale up with their items. We'll find out if they can hold off and turn this tide of the series around, even it up at 1 game apiece in just a couple of minutes, so stick around for the second game of our best of 3 block.
Welcome back to the Rift, lads, as it's me,
No.
Yes, dude, yes, we have to come into it with this energy, with this excitement, because I finally get to cast a Vex, and I'm so happy about it.
You can cast a Vex, but don't do it in Scottish. That's all I ask, please. Your British accent is bad enough. We don't need to throw you into a whack accent within the British Isles, okay?
All I'm hearing is that it was recognizable. That's all I'm getting here, and it is a point of pride for me. We're gonna keep the good vibes going, much as Speedo JR's.
Look at what they're doing.
5-man walk into the jungle. Yeah, this could get dicey very quickly. Speedo, definitely is going to feel the brunt end of that, as the flash not going to save him there. Going to go down to the ignite afterwards, but it is going to be a trade of 1-for-1 actually, as it is going to be traded onto Perry as he goes down, and actually likely one more. Dragoon flashing away is going to save his own life, but 1-for-1 isn't what you were looking for there with Winter Dragon's play.
Holy moly, a calamity, honestly. I mean, overall it's a 1-for-1, so who really cares? But they were just a series of slightly missed executions. Dragoon not able to layer the CC onto Speedo with the knock-up. The flash coming through just well-timed enough to bait out Cho'Gath knock-up into the wrong direction. 1-for-1 overall, and then flashing forward and losing an extra member that I don't think Speedo J had intended on. Or rather, that Winter Dragon had got traded on. I got confused because they were fighting from the other sides of the rift, but still, overall, it's 1 kill going over to the support and 1 kill going over to the support. So who really cares about this? Because they're going to get themselves their Moby boots faster. These roams are going to come through, but overall, like, sick. We got ignite kills. Let's keep gaming, lads.
Listen, I tell you once again, Rooted, I absolutely care. Supportive combat is everything that I'm about. We're about to witness a showdown for the ages, but Winter, he bought boots first. And remember, we were looking for Winter to roam a lot last game, and he didn't get the chance to. Now, with the quite literally extra movement speed, maybe it ends up changing things, but it is not going to change how this lane is going for them, as even on the Misfortune, it doesn't look like it's going too well.
What I love is that JJ's got approach velocity. That is a Chad Braum rune right there. You hit the stun, you just sprint at them with the extra movement speed, or hit the slow, sprint at them, hit the extra movement speed, and try and find those conclusive blow stacks. Absolutely love that. Quick rune choices are always something that I love to tap on if we get the opportunity, and I think that right there was the perfect example. To touch more on the early game though, what we're expecting from this setup, right? We, or rather the desk quite rightly highlighted and addressed that the laning phase for the LeBlanc is going to be awful. Firefire should have the run of things, and with that chain going wide, we'll be able to evade this gank. But you can see he's already shoving in mid, already got a slight CS lead, and Strompest is going to find this pretty difficult to find himself an advantage in the early stages. Of course, on the top side of the map, Dragoon once again had his choice of counter pick. Now GP is one of those champions that people have come to realize, hey, unless we're picking a Lucian or getting Lucian picked into it, which we're not, by the way, because of bans, this is a fairly blindable champion. So Cho'Gath was Dragoon's answer, but Speedo should be fairly self-sufficient up on this side anyway. So the solo lanes right now for Speedo J should be pretty good. They should be able to work their way into a strong lead to begin.
All right, well, I'm excited to see how it ends up playing out, because I'm definitely seeing that strength sort of force itself upon Winter Dragon in the mid lane, but everywhere else, I think, you know, it may end up coming down to a little bit of confidence as well, especially coming out of last game. I think that we've got maybe a little bit more conservative play on red side right now, especially because they've already gone down 1 today, and you do want to make it 1-1. I know that we often get the whole 3-game series here, and you know we're going to be playing 3 games anyways, but it is about conserving that mental, and I think a lot of them are going to be playing a little bit more conservatively because of how last game went for them.
Yeah, and with that then, we sort of hope that they'll be able to put those mental fears aside and say, hey, regardless of the fact that we maybe lost game 1 where we possibly shouldn't have done, that this is how we're going to win the second game and claw our way back into this series via another manner and get themselves a a safe win, safe early game lane. Okay, you're lost with it.
I like it. No. This is fun. I really like the Winter's roaming. Yeah, the ignite goes down. Maybe supports pick up another kill as burning down inside the jungle. The last auto attack will belong to Strompest. We talked about Winter wanting to roam, having the boots, and it pays off big.
Sorry, Firefire yoinked that crab, and that makes me eternally happy when people do that. Winter might actually die here. Has got flash. Oh, come close.
He's on the side as well. Health bars.
He's approaching. He's approaching.
Okay. Okay. With Strompest can't actually fight this though because Vex champion gets feared, gonna be able to get under tower. But I am really not sure about this. Winter is gonna end up going down to 5 fire as he gets taken down on the other side by Perry. A teleport in, matched by Cho'Gath's walk down, might just mean that JayJ goes down, but a flash away and the Unbreakable is gonna keep him up for now. Another trade of 1 for 1 though, and the kill score keeps staying just barely even with a small advantage going over to Winter Dragon.
The approach velocity Braum is killing me this game. That's all I can keep seeing is every time he hits a Q, he just zooms at somebody. Now, it's not actually worked out for him too often just yet, but it's still absolutely hilarious. The big beneficiary of all of that, Strompest. 2-0-2 on the LeBlanc in a lane that he shouldn't be finding leads in. This is a rough spot right now. I don't know if you're going to be able to get out of this one.
Nice flash, or rather, get him the wall there from Perry. This should be a kill. No way that Qiyana is expected to get out, but with a flash, hey, maybe you end up styling as there it is. 1-2 and a dash means that the extra mobility provided is nice, but the level 6 hit by 5 fire just might mean that Winter ends up going down. Speedo is going to commit the ultimate to helping this one out, and that approach velocity, Braum, man, it just keeps going. Another stun, another kill going over to Speedo J, and now they're the ones with the kill advantage.
There we go, flipping the table. Strompest, though, is this LeBlanc can find a kill here, should be able to pick up this quick kill. Combo comes through, nicely done, using that fog of war, already swapped over to the sweeper here. So he's looking for these kills, looking for these skirmishes incredibly early on, and trying to find a little bit of an advantage. On the other side of things, though, Array now a little bit in trouble. He's approaching, dear, he's coming!
Oh, yes. You know what? Just hit the Q, hit the Q, hit the Q. Oh, my lord, the flash. There we go. I actually fully thought that Array was dead there as soon as he stepped up to that last auto, but a summoner spell expended is still a very high price to pay for just the additional little bit of poke onto an Ezreal.
And the Braum approached, yet did not find any kills. The velocity was not enough, unfortunately. Good flash, as you mentioned, from Array to get himself out to safety. He still has, though, a nice lead overall, roughly 15 CS, the current advantage on this bottom lane between the AD carries, and he's got a bigger wave crashing into him as well, so that'll slightly balloon as well. And it's what we expect. We saw this matchup the last time round. Misfortune beats Ezreal in the early stages of the game. No surprises here. We have seen a lot more support roams this time, though, with Winter also looking for these attacks, and JayJ as well looking to try and make plays across the map. You can see 5 out of 5 kill participation for JayJ, 4 out of 5 for Winter. You know, these guys are battling it tooth and nail across Summoner's Rift to find these leads, and so far it's fairly even.
No, I really like how they've been looking so far, but we're going to get a 2v2 in the mid lane, and oh my lord, that is a taste of fear as it's a 1-for-1 right now. Burst for burst, and jungler and mid laner will fall respectively. That one's not going to turn into too much more, though, as both LeBlanc and Qiyana would struggle to kill each other on their current health, so they're going to back off, and I favor that for Strompest, honestly. I think that we can sort of continue doing that, because right now, the game isn't about parry. It's not going to become about parry, but the more kills Strompest gets, the better the side of Winter Dragon feels.
LeBlanc getting fed, getting snowballed is the fear and the sort of demise of so many teams, so many players as well on this Speedo J roster. You know, I talked about this a little bit with you off screen, right? We've got 2 essentially champions that can function as assassins in the mid lane. Vex doesn't need to, but she can with her ulti function very nicely as an assassin. LeBlanc, a poke mage, an assassin, however you want to phrase her. If she's fed enough, she'll kill you 100-0. We look at the targets that she's got to choose from. I'm going to give you anybody along this Speedo J roster outside of the Braum, and in an instance that we get to see a tankier build out of Speedo can get popped, essentially, is what we're saying here. Strompest has his pick of the litter for champions to try and assassinate, whereas Firefire on the other side of that, he's going to be playing his champion a little bit more tempered in the aggression. Isn't going to be able to find those ultis as aggressively, as easily, since there's so much on the Winter Dragon side to stop the Vex from getting those blow-ups, those instant one-shots, be it just the increased health pool that the champions have, or be it the movement speed or the movement abilities that they've got. The difference in the way these mid laners will be able to function and operate these champions is going to be slightly different, and I think that that advantage does distinctly go over to Strompest. Him having this lead as well just compounds onto that.
So let me ask you a question as we are getting a little bit later here. It is just 6-6 right now, and by all accounts, despite the fact that Strompest is ahead, I would say it's a largely even game. And yet the analyst desk before had pointed out that it's blue side that does need to push that pace a little bit more, get themselves a larger early lead than they currently have. Yes, this LeBlanc is doing well, but where else can they look for maybe using that advantage to start translating into their actual win condition?
They can translate this in a lot of places here. There are a couple of objectives obviously starting to come on up. The Ocean Drake's been live. The Rift Herald is up and up for contest as well. On this top side, it looks like, though, with JayJ already up here, that they're going to be seeding the Rift Herald at the very least and actually finding Dragoon in a large bout of trouble. Firefire able to use that ulti to find a nice flash out of the Cho'Gath. And well, for, as we talked about, Winter Dragon needing to push the pedal early, you know, it's not looking the best for them. Yes, they're even on kills, the gold largely the same, and they do have this very fed LeBlanc. I think that that's your answer here, and as we saw or heard Bayora talk about, their answer is to look onto the bot side. You can see Kyle trying to clear the wave, but there are 4 members down here.
Oh, nice assist from the Gangplank, though. Almost helps him, but the commit is just a little bit too strong. Winter Dragon, they trade a kill for the Rift Herald and are going to have maybe, I want to say, Dragoon in a little bit of trouble. The Rift Herald is right next to him, and there is a Gangplank Kiana with a lot of damage, but at the same time, Dragoon's got more health than anybody else in this game.
Yeah, I mean, the timings are a little bit weird here. They could have tried to pull Firefire up to go for a dive on this top side and sort of counter the play blow for blow here. Instead, they're unable to do so, right? So this top side really goes untouched, and Dragoon actually going to be A-okay. Dragon down on the bot side as well for Winter Dragon is very nice for them, and they get themselves a fairly decent chunk, right? A sizable advantage to retaliate to the Rift Herald that went down on the top side. We are yet to see what Speedo J do with that Rift Herald. They still have that ace in the pack to see what they can make up from, you know, this early game. They've got a couple of minutes before plates fall. We expect to see that Rift Herald go down prior to that. But looking across the items as well, when you have so many kills in the early stages, these items do tend to snowball quite quickly. We've already got an Umbral Glaive for Kiana, for LeenK here, so he's looking very nice to try and remove some vision, and currently, you know, trying to find a couple plays across Summoner's Rift in the mid lane at present. Able to clear out that vision very nicely. If you're forgetting, Umbral Glaive deals 3 damage to wards as opposed to the standard 1 for anybody else, so a very nice item to be moving around the jungle with.
And it has a lot of awareness that sort of comes along with that of where LeenK is at in this game, what he's providing right now, and a lot of what he's doing on this Kiana isn't necessarily just 100 to 0ing people, but it's giving a lot more control of the jungle than they would otherwise have with her ability to get over walls, get into places that she would not normally be, and the CC that she can now bring with her ultimate, the threat of that initial burst. It's just a lot that Kiana has access to quite early on that is giving that little bit of, I would say, edge in vision and sort of compounded with the itemization over to Team Speedo J, at least for now, but I have yet to see them really make the most of it.
Yeah, they've not been able to find these advantages just yet with the Kiana, right? We look across the item discrepancy. We've got completed item plus a whip on LeenK versus the, you know, Ninja Tabbies essentially, and the Iron Spike whip for Perry. So there's a decided advantage there. For Winter Dragon, though, they do have themselves a very strong bot side of the map, right? They've got this Misfortune who's hit Gale Force, hit Plated Steel Caps, Strompest as well. 3 very large components. Not quite able to go back and finish off the Mythic. Instead had to, you know, take a pit stop at that CDR component here in the Fiendish Codex, but it's still looking quite nicely strong with those Dark Seal stacks. You can see how much damage he's pumping out. That's 2 sigils. There was no proc of the second sigil. There was no chain coming through. That damage is purely from this raw AP that LeBlanc's got early on.
That's actually really, really scary to see, and once that Mythic does come through, I'm expecting it to get even worse. I would say that the one thing that does have me a little bit worried, though, is that at the same time as we saw Firefire's health bar fall low, the mid lane tower doesn't have a whole lot of health on the side of Winter Dragon. Once that falls, they open themselves up to a lot of risk, because as we already talked about, LeenK does have the ability to control vision a lot easier than Perry does on the other side of this. If they lose the pressure that's inherent with having that tier 1 tower up, I start to worry.
And Perry needs to base. Like, I don't know how much gold this guy's got, but he needs to go back to base and spend it, because at the minute he's going to be down in any sort of fight that happens to come to blows. We've got 2 minutes on the Drake spawning, excuse me. It's going to be an Infernal for the second one. So we'll have to wait and see where we end up seeing this one prioritized, who we see finding those leads, finding those advantages. Finally gets to go back to base, picks up a full gold drinker essentially out of the back pocket. And now the attention turns toward the bot side. Cleared out the enemy's top jungle as well, so it's worth noting that LeenK did lose a little bit of gold, of experience. Really nice to see Perry just invading and picking up a couple kills, or a couple kills on camps here. But now with the attention returning down to this bot side, you can see in the mid lane that Strompest is operating with full effect right here, putting damage into Firefire at every instance possible. And yes, Firefire has push on the wave just because of Vex's kit, but if Strompest steps up a little too far, he can quite easily find that kill. And with the support of the team as well, you can see that Winter Dragon are looking to alleviate this mid lane and hopefully start to put Firefire a bit further back.
I do think it's really cool, though, that just the small micro adaptations that we're getting in the mid lane. We talked about adaptation being a key part of the last game even, and especially around the mid lane that was Twisted Fate Silas at the time. Now, just in the individual 1v1s, Firefire is saving the personal space in a way that we didn't see him before, and he sort of, I guess, learned the ins and outs of this matchup against Strompest, or rather the way that Strompest is playing it, being able to pop in and throw out the double sigils outside of range of the personal space, but the shield actually still keeping Firefire relatively healthy is doing him a lot of good, where Winter, unfortunately, not so nice.
No, unfortunate. Caught out there, no connect once again, as I talked about. He's solo clearing that vision. Yes, Perry's nearby, but Perry's not there. It means that they're able to just quickly collapse, take down the Leona as, well, goodbye. There we go. LeBlanc's got 4 kills, ladies and gentlemen, stepping up, and granted, Kyle was just trying to throw a Q into a brush, but that brush so happened to contain a LeBlanc. It was very scary. Claps back, and we know here, dear, that I would quite happily trade an AD carry for support every day of the week with the staggered death timers as well. Winter's going to be out on the map much faster than Kyle is going to be, and that should be the Drake, or at the very least, large control of the Drake going over to Winter Dragon.
It's a nice one too. Infernal Dragon gives you a lot of autonomy. I think literally damage is probably the word that I just should have used there, but that damage is going to come into a lot of play on the other side of the rift, where the Infernal may not be had, but Shogath should be going down. There's a lot of AD here, and it takes a while to take down Dragoon, but his death is certain.
Finally gets chipped away at there. No feast to try and trade a kill back. Has been stacking those up on the minions fairly regularly. You can see it's just now starting to come off cooldown. So a good trade across the map here by Speedo J, and able to take down the top tier 1, able to take down the Cho'Gath under it as well. Again, nothing too untoward. A good cross map play overall, after Kyle unfortunately does just get picked off by the LeBlanc, and it draws our attention once again to the fact that, hey, this LeBlanc gonna be scary. We haven't quite yet seen the power that Array's got out of this bot lane, because he's got himself a very nice CS lead as well. That's worth mentioning, that, you know, big discrepancy between the two AD carries, but we haven't seen the difference made just yet. Strompest goes back, finishes his Cosmic Drive. He's 2 items already. Luden's going to be giving you extra pen as well with the completion of that Cosmic Drive, and with the Sork Shoes on top of that, he's just going to be dealing true damage very quickly here, or close to it, because we look across at the magic resistance on Speedo J, and it's in the way of a couple of Merc Treads, and that's it.
Yeah, that hurts. It hurts a lot, and like you said at the beginning, when LeBlanc started to get fed, she really has her pick of the litter when it comes to who she's going to take down. On the other side of this, Speedo very quickly itemizing into the penetration for the lane against Dragoon. Doesn't find himself inside of it right now. Instead, in the lane against Strompest, and I don't think he's too happy about it.
No, you're quite right. If I'm GP here, I'd much rather be fighting up against the Cho'Gath, who I built an LDR for, versus the LeBlanc, who's dealing true damage to me, right? Yes, we've got Merc Treads, so maybe not true damage. You know, I'm over-exaggerating a little bit here, but as we see JayJ trying to find a quick pick onto Perry, I'm not quite sure who's picking who right now. A couple whiffed solar flares coming through, but it's a battle for mid priority as Strompest shows his face, and immediately Speedo J has to run.
Yeah, as soon as Strompest shows up, it's Dragoon picking you. Winter Dragon are definitely going to have the damage with their mid laner arrived, and there it goes. The feast comes through, and not even the true display of skill is going to find any sort of clap back there. The health bars do get a little bit low, but Winter Dragon extraordinarily happy right now with their free pick and are going to move back up to the top side to collect the farm that they would otherwise miss.
Saddened by the lack of gentleman Cho'Gath skins in this game, Dragoon. You've disappointed me greatly as the British caster here. Got to be repping the homies when we get the opportunity to. Otherwise, though, game's still largely undetermined at present. We've got a kill lead and neutral objective lead going over to Winter Dragon, which is largely what our desk was talking about, right? They needed to force the issue early on and make these plays to find objectives, find kills. But as we look at the gold, I think that just by a hair's breadth, it is Speedo J who have themselves that advantage. So if we see a more all-out 5v5 come to fruition, maybe the tables get turned a little bit here. I think that the chaos that LeBlanc and Xin Zhao tend to thrive under is really benefiting Winter Dragon right here because they're looking for quick picks as opposed to these all-out team fights. But they are going to be trying to pick off Dragoon here.
And once again, it's going to take a really long time to do it. Under the turret, no less, makes it harder as he sustains quite a bit of damage in the meantime. But the Rift Herald does ultimately get a second charge, and nobody from Speedo J will fall for that, nor will they lose too much either. The top lane being saged by Strompest, still just now getting taken below half health, is just fine for Speedo to be able to pick up the wave at, and this is a really nice sort of map control play for Speedo J that gets them a kill, and honestly an objective that they otherwise shouldn't have gotten.
And we talk about the fact that this is a really bad lane assignment for Speedo. It is a really good lane assignment for Firefire. This is a Cho'Gath who's got very little magic resist, obviously has a little bit coming from that Glacial, but doesn't have Mercury Treads. He's going up against a Vex who's got Liandry's as well, so he's dealing percentage health damage up against the HP stacking Cho'Gath. It could be going much better, honestly, for Firefire when he's in that lane matchup in particular. So he's going to be farming up a Storm, Strompest is going to be farming up a Storm, and this game, in case it wasn't already enough about the mid laners, is going to become even more of that fact. In the mid lane, Perry looking for a fight, but it looks like they're going to be able to disengage quite nicely, as despite the fact that a Braum can approach with big velocity, he can also disengage quite nicely by being able to stand behind people.
Teleport into the mid lane, though, is very aggressive from both of these teams. Oh Lord, it's almost the over-aggression from Strompest that cost him his life, but instead just reduces him to 100 HP and lets the team fight play out as it will. Nice true display of skill, interrupts the channel on the bullet time from Array, and no kills just yet as Winter ends up being the first one to fall. Unlikely that Dragoon makes it through this as he gets taken down as well, and 2 kills in the extended fight go to Speedo J.
Yeah, remember what I was saying, right? These long order team fights should be favoring Speedo J, but in the skirmishes, that's where we're expecting Winter Dragon to thrive. 5v5 in the mid lane, ladies and gentlemen, and Speedo J come out on top. Very nice to see that they're the ones that are able to play out the fight better, and a lot of outplays honestly coming through. Array fires down a good bullet time, but first of all, it gets Zhonya's stopwatch down one side, gets shown away by the supreme display of talent as well, as you mentioned quite rightly. So there are a couple little nuances to the fight that made it quite difficult for the Misfortune to ever find agency. We got to see firsthand why Firefire loves picking this Vex into the LeBlanc. We saw the LeBlanc jumps on in, Vex presses W, it's a snap cast, there's no time for the LeBlanc to react. If you get on top of the Vex, then you can get feared and you're going to go down. Oh. It's a double-edged sword, though. It is a double-edged sword, I'll say that.
Definitely so. It's a swingy matchup as Firefire almost just gets deleted there. It's going to be set back to base in no time at all. While still, the jungle and support roaming around the map for Speedo J will continue to get them some nice vision. You definitely want to keep an eye out for what angle Strompest is coming from.
Going for the Void Staff third as well, so anybody who's built any iota of magic resist is going to get shredded through as well. So this is a full penetration LeBlanc build, going to be looking to dish out as much damage as possible, looking for that third item spike as quickly as possible as well here, taking down a couple of wards as well, and you can see Firefire pays the immediate respect, and as you talked about adaptation, I want to see then Strompest start to adapt how he looks for these picks, particularly when Firefire is nearby, just because of that Snapcast W, the Snapcast fear that is going to make his life so difficult on the LeBlanc. Try and go for those chains and sigils. You have enough damage at this point to put out a large portion of it onto anybody with just the chain connecting on double sigil, but with Winter, they're looking now to close on to this mid lane. Big bullet time.
Yeah, I really like that to sort of seal the deal, or close the deal, rather, on the mid lane tower, as that does end up falling. Dragoon, a big part of that, being able to play the front line for the Misfortune, keeps the bullet time from being interrupted, keeps her from being in any danger, and with that tower now having fallen on both sides, with the turrets more or less equalized, it's, once again, anybody's game, and we are looking towards those team fights. A reiteration of the win conditions really is that long, drawn-out fight that you talked about for Red side really favoring them, but outside of that, it really is a 50-50. Like, this isn't one that is seeming like it's going to favor either side inherently.
Dear, why is Chovy playing AD carry for Winter Dragon? Because we are currently 26 minutes into the game, and Araya's got 300 farm. I am perplexed as to where he spawned in these minions from in the first place. And that's actually, right, so I was going to start this point by going, okay, this is a one-horse race right now for Winter Dragon. Strompest is the carry force at this time. But then I looked down and I saw that Array has just hacked the game and spawned minions in for himself to last hit. And this MF can dish out the damage as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially, oh lord, once she hits that next item, but she's gonna have to, as Strompest does get deleted, the personal space, gonna take him down at the end. Perry gonna answer this one right back, flashing away with the Crescent Guard, keeps himself alive with the invulnerability to damage at range, and Dragoon is trying to push all of Speedo J into a corner, put them in a nice area for that bullet time to be layered over, but instead, Array not gonna get the chance to do that just yet, is gonna push in this mid lane, 1-for-1 for now, mid lane for top lane.
Double knock up there. Thought that could have been the start of a re-engage angle, but without Strompest, they don't feel confident to look for these picks. And once again, we're seeing the Vex counter pick come through. We saw that just because you are able to dash in and dash back out, that you're not necessarily safe. The Vex is able to follow you. She only has to hit her ulti on you when you've dove on close and then follow you. When you go further back, it's a reactivation, very similar to the Lee Sin Q itself. So nice to see that Firefire's got a hold on this matchup and got a hold on how he wants to be playing it out. Strompest, it doesn't mean that he's out of the game though. Getting picked off isn't great, but he goes back to base, picks himself up his full completed Void Staff now as well, so he's going to be dishing out that damage just as much as he would have been before. Yes, he dies, yes, he loses those Dark Seal stacks, but you can imagine that if he finds a pick in a side lane, finds a pick in the jungle, they're going to be able to rack themselves up quite quickly once again, and certainly looks very confident this game.
And he's not doing too poorly in the CS department either, so this guy has plenty of time and experience, quite literally, to bolster him up through the rest of the game. While Perry continues to look for these engages again in the mid lane, as down comes the Leona ultimate, out comes the bullet time, almost picking off and finally completing the pick on JayJ. Perry's going to be able to back off now. Lots of ultimates expended for that one, and it's right at the correct time as well. Dragon coming up now, and Firefire's looking for that engage, looking for that pick.
Yeah, they've got a lot of long-range damage here. Vex, Ezreal, and some barrels from GP can dish out some DPS.
Fire! Oh my god, he's almost dead, but so is Strompest there. The clone saving his life against the Ezreal, as out over the wall does go LeenK once again. Health bars are low, but it seems like they're gonna feel confident starting this Dragon. On the side of Winter
TPs.
Dragon is Speedo. He's looking for the chunks right now. Does end up finding the barrel, but no kills just yet. Dragon goes over to Perry on Winter Dragon, and now it's all about getting out to safety. No TP flank behind them should mean that they get to walk out just fine. Speedo's still looking for the chunks though, and a big shutdown comes down for Strompest, finishing off LeenK, and this should be safe, but the chase continues.
Firefire doesn't have all the chase potential, not the greatest here at Winter. I love it. Hex Flash out. He's not going to get to safety. The fear comes through. I imagine he goes down here. Finally falls, and a slightly staggered death timer could have started up the bar. Baron again.
Yeah, this is really nice for them. It gives them that extra little bit of tankiness, especially on Cho'Gath as well. And honestly, even the small, marginal little bit that it's going to help their squishies is going to be really, really good against the likes of Speedo and Firefire, who have been really, really scaling up and putting out the deeps. Take a look at Speedo's itemization now, and he's going to start doing a lot of damage, even though he is already, once that last item comes through, once that extra little bit of crit is picked up, Speedo might just be able to take fights just like Firefire and just like Kyle.
Yeah, you can see these carries are scaling up into the late game. Kyle's picked himself up a Frozen Heart, which honestly I'm kind of on board with and kind of torn on as well. If he gets popped by LeBlanc, that Frozen Heart's doing absolutely niche for him. And if he gets popped by Zao, if Xin Zhao jumps on him, it's going to be an absolutely amazing item. The slow on the attack speed as well is going to be very invaluable. Can throw people off of their combos and forget, like, okay, this timing on my auto attack just isn't there because of Frozen Heart. So it depends on who's jumping on him, and it puts a bit more of an onus onto Strompest to say this guy spent 2,500 gold on an item that does absolutely nothing to defend against me and doesn't really give him any damage either. What's this guy doing? Let me kill him real quick. You know, so there's that little added extra bonus there to Strompest to say this guy's pretty easy pickings for myself. But at the same time, we have to think about, well, who's getting picked off for who? As it's actually Strompest that is getting dashed away, or dashes away rather, to get himself out to safety there. Supreme Display of Talent expended. So a slight cooldown blown here by Speedo J, but overall looking to try and make a bit of a bush bait here with Baron up and available, and they feel like they've cleared out enough vision to make this one a little bit questionable, but well, they may have cleared out the vision. They haven't cleared out Perry just yet.
No, he's sitting right there, making sure that he is the living ward on top of Baron right now, and actually might be an engage for us quite soon as Winter's thinking about this one, ends up using the Solar Flare to lock down Firefire and gets out to safety as the bullet time saves his life. Strompest picks off Speedo in the meantime and tearing apart Speedo J. Winter Dragon take their 1v1s, win their 1v1s, and are absolutely decimating right before this Baron.
Yeah, it was a really bad, or a really awkward MF ulti, but they're still able to find fights, and whilst all 5 members from both teams were there, it wasn't a real 5v5, it was lots of skirmishes, lots of pickoffs on either side of the map, and that's what type of fights are favouring Winter Dragon. Now the Smite contest isn't there, but there's still a Vex and Ezreal to dish out damage.
Oh my lord, ooh, I thought the double sigil was going to come through there.
No Smite,
absolutely though. Would have destroyed Kyle. Like you're saying, we're very, very close here, no feast available, and in comes, oh Lord Firefire, but doesn't quite get it as he was hovering around the edge there. Nobody able to actually even get close enough, as now Firefire is just trying to interrupt the backs. Baron goes over to Winter Dragon, and Speedo J, they might find this pick. Strompest, the personal space stops a lot of that burst. Firefire gonna, yeah, recommit. Let's go, baby. The distortion finishes him off, and Strompest wins that one.
Yeah, gets it in the 1 versus 1 right here, able to come out on top. That extra little bonus coming through from the Baron combat stats. He's looking for more here.
No, he isn't. He's on like 300 HP. All right, well, you know.
Well, he was.
Yeah, he doesn't get the red buff, but he's healing up slowly but surely. Over the wall, there we holy moly go, as LeenK is trying desperately to finish off this kill, has to commit the ultimate to it at the end of the day. And Strompest, though he did go down, he broke some ankles on the way.
No, I'm gonna give you a disagree on that one. He flashed over a lot of abilities. In essence, he burned his own cooldowns to die. The flash there, I'm not endorsing in any way. But at the end of the day, he did get the 1v1 kill. He loses his Baron as well, which is a negative for me as well. So, broke ankles, yes. Were they his own? Also, yes.
You know what? I'll give it to you. I can't. I started off with a Scottish accent. I can't disagree with you too much on this. This one is a my bad game. Well, Perry is trying to find some kills of his own. He's gonna realize that this one might have been his battle. To clap back onto Speedo tells a different story. Finally, Perry's going to go down. The protracted fight belongs to them, but they're in a choke point right now. Unfortunately, no bullet time is available, and so it's all up to just the auto weaving of Array in the backline, and he almost does it, but with everybody piling on top of him, from Kyle to Firefire, he's going to go down, and now Strompest is returned.
It's the chain here. Sigil finds one. Now it's the battle of the mid laners, as it has been this whole entire game. Remember, it's Strompest looking to take this Drake for Soul. With just a mid laner, right? This is a LeBlanc, not a champion that's adept at burning down these dragons. Going to be saving your cooldowns to burst it at the end. You need to look at things like TP timers. Speedo is going to have TP when he respawns. Dragoon does not, so slight advantage there that goes in favour of Speedo J. What Strompest needs to be doing right now is forcing damage across the other side of the map, and that's what he's doing, pushing in the bot lane, forcing pressure elsewhere. But you can see with that TP, it's Speedo who's immediately going to be able to join the fight, and you see Winter, Perry, they're all starting to run their way down from base, so we're going to see another fight here in just a couple seconds.
Ooh, Lord, double distortion though did get Strompest away from Speedo. That tells a very big story, and it is that Speedo is well and truly scaled up. There's a lot of carry threats for Strompest to contend with, and Perry will just now be joining, having recently respawned. LeenK gonna do the same thing from the other side of the map, and we're once again gonna run it down at each other. Perry goes low, goes in, does not get the dragon, and now with the Crescent Guard is buying a lot of time for the team. Still up, ends up taking Speedo down with him, finishing that off with LeenK, and it's the dragon for 2 kills as Team Winter Dragon march into the mid lane.
Yeah, you get the Drake here, Speedo J, but at what cost? What can Winter Dragon find back from this position? They're able to already pick up 2 kills, and now they're charging down mid lane. They do have a wave at their back, a very fed ADC in their back pocket as well. These turrets, they're going to melt like butter, and with 30 seconds still on these death timers, an inhibitor is nothing that they should be scoffing at.
No minions to use for themselves as they try and break the base, though, as
Firefire's
missing out. Yeah, Firefire is doing really, really well at that. Has to conserve the personal space, though. Strompest is looking for that pick, as he ever is. But now with the minion wave re-arriving both in bot and mid lane inhibitor is going to fall first. And there's really no defense against this, with still 5 seconds left on both the jungler and top laner for Speedo J. Now it is time for Team Winter Dragon to go take their reset and hit the rift one more time with that extra bit of pressure in the mid lane.
Yeah, Baron's up in 1 minute 50, right? These guys have been scrapping from start to end. There's no reason to suspect that it's going to stop or slow down any further. Because we've got another neutral objective. We've got more vision to be fighting for. You can see that going as a pair here, they're very cautious of walking back into their jungle just in case Winter Dragon have laid a trap anywhere, in case Strompest has stuck around for an extra second longer than maybe the rest of the team have. Has now completed that full Rabadon's death cap at full build right now, has the most damage that he could possibly look to from a build. The only thing that you'd be looking to change is maybe the Banshees for something different, but the Banshee safety is kind of paramount here. It's a very good answer to the Vex who snap fearing you. If you have that Banshees, you have that shield to protect you. That's not going to be the case, so a very good item in Strompest's back pocket to keep himself a little bit safe and make those assassinations even easier.
And on the other side of this, of course, the itemization from Firefire, having built lasagnas here, allows him to commit for those picks without going down instantly, without really being punished too much. Perry, though, continually looking for these engages, is the epitome of not being punished this game, as he just continues to be able to tank up on this Xin Zhao. And he's not the only one. Dragoon ends up finding LeenK in the jungle as well around the top side, and you really don't get access to your own camps at this point if you are a member of Speedo J. Their top lane tier 2 is going to fall, and though the Baron has, though the Baron is yet to spawn, this one should be going over to Winter Dragon if the game continues like this.
Yeah, there's probably going to be a fight here. Perry takes a big chunk, and that's going to be solar flare burned.
Oh Lord, but really nice usage of the Supreme Display of Talent. Actually interrupts over the wall. This is Array trying to get out. There we go. This is good poke war for right now. Notice that Strompest is on no vision inside of the jungle on the red buff. Speedo, whoo, Lord, almost goes down to the Gale Force double auto from Array. The health bars, they just keep getting lower and lower. Well, Winter Dragons don't seem to be moving nearly as much.
Now, Speedo J, they burnt a lot of the ultis from Winter Dragon, and unfortunately they're unable to capitalize on it here. It looks like this Baron is just going to go over those ultis, didn't get any kills, but what they did get are big chunks of damage. True Shot Barrage is going to scout out the Baron finally going down, and a really good hold by Winter Dragon. They took control of that top side about a minute ago. They didn't wrest control of it at all, and they just kept on holding on to it, making sure that they were the ones in firm control. They had vision the entire time, knew where and when Speedo J were looking to enter. Nicely played on this top side, meaning that eventually they just picked themselves up the Baron, and now here with firm control of this late game stage, they may well be able to close this one out. They've lost 2 dragons in the last couple fights here, but with 1 minute on their soul spawning for Winter Dragon here with the Baron at their back, with this more confirmed position of power, they should be able to take it.
Oh, Lord. LeenK scares me, though. They're committing into the camouflage. Perry's getting chunked out pretty darn significantly, though, as half of his health already gone just for approaching the thought of the Ezreal. We've still got just a little while on this Drake, though, a little while more to get some vision, as Perry gets feared again, taking below half health, recommits with the Sterix right now, and is being taken down through the Crescent Guard, although he's going to manage to survive this one with the help of a Locket of the Iron Solari. This time, your jungler's on very low HP. It's up to Strompest to clean that up as he picks Speedo off and really equalizes that fight, committing fully. This is going to be LeenK trying to do the exact same thing, and with the help of Firefire, they do find the assassination onto Array. This is absolutely huge for Firefire, as he might try and use the Shadow Surge again. It's going to expire for right now, and again, it is Strompest trying to jump around, find these picks, this time not answered. It is a 1-for-1, but it's 80 carry for top laner, and I am envying Speedo J's position right now.
Both junglers are so chunked out here. Strompest dashes forward, might get stunned up here by the true damage now, not getting picked up just yet.
Still waiting in the wings, though, is LeenK. Is going to end up going down as Dragoon just takes that one for himself with the beast. Strompest dashes forward, but it costs him his life, disrespecting the amount of damage that Kyle can put out, but it will not change what looks like the result. That should be the Dragon is going over to the side of Winter Dragon, but it's Kyle trying to clap it back. Perry just gets on top of him with the help of Dragoon. Can they finally take down this Ezreal in time? The teleport is coming back in, and Speedo wants to answer back now, as on the other side, JayJ almost gets taken down. The last auto would do it, but he can't quite get in range. There it goes. It's 2v1 against Speedo, with both very low inside of the river. Perry's coming back to try and get this knockup, but it's going to be Dragoon that ends up going down. Everybody's still dead, and with Speedo falling once again around this mid lane, now the Dragon finally belongs to Winter.
And finally, they secured the soul as well. Pick it up for themselves. It's a long fought affair, a massive slaughter in the river. Many teams losing many players. But finally, Winter Dragon secure themselves the objective, secure themselves the soul. And the Baron is up in 2 minutes here, 3 minutes here. We might have a little bit of respite here. The Lord knows you need it.
Oh, yeah, holy moly. I mean, the amount of time that fight was protracted for. Remember, we were talking about protracted fights favoring very much the red side. A lot of that has to do with barrels, and Speedo just wasn't a part of it for most of that.
No, and it's a really big issue, honestly. This GP is so strong on in this game. Looking to finish off that Maw of Mortius as well. Got popped by the LeBlanc once and decided he never wanted that to happen again. Now Firefire could be in a bit of trouble here, but looks like the good shadowing is coming on through. And for now, there is an open inhibitor in the mid lane. It is a point that Winter Dragon could look to pressure while they don't have any neutrals to play for, but instead they're going to look up to the top side and maybe try and find a fight over here instead.
This teleport is definitely telling us a lot about the intentions of Winter Dragon. His Dragoon with his 3 million HP is going to stand on the front line, making it look like Ezreal is more of a tickle the Elmo. This is very difficult of a spot, but fortunately for the side of Speedo J, there's no Baron to bolster the push from Winter Dragon, and they're burning a lot of time topside instead for Strompest to do work in the mid lane. Inhibitor falls once again, but will it actually result in anything?
No, I was about to mention that you have this open inhibitor in the mid lane. You should be trying to force that one down. Really nice to see that Winter Dragon are just pulling the attention. They're saying, hey guys, come over here, look, we're trying to take your turret, stop us from doing that. And then Strompest just walks his way forward, takes that inhibitor fairly freely. Now there's an access point of pressure for the next 5 minutes.
Strompest almost gets that pick and does get finished off. It looks like we've got the top lane inhibitor tower falling under the cannon barrage, but forward goes Perry to try and find the knockup. Doesn't quite get it, gets feared instead by the Vex and is going to be taken down at the same time as Strompest finds the pick onto Firefire. This should be the end fight as the crucial damage was found, and now with just Array left to duel it out, he does get taken down by Kyle near the fountain, and that might have saved the game.
I don't know here. Strompest has got TP if he wants to come back to the fight with full HP. Kyle has a big task ahead of himself to stop this one from going down.
Getting a Zinzao on top of you is not the
hard.
best start to that, but like you said, yeah, the itemization definitely helping him out there. Strompest waiting for his time to commit right outside those. Parry almost gets taken down. Now Strompest decides that it's time to go forward, and the ace has a huge amount of damage from this assassination pick. Really does pay off. Vex or no, LeBlanc is still looking like a very high value pickup.
And this should just be the closeout here. Nothing that LeenK can do. Strompest dancing around the sides of the Nexus here. Going to pick himself up an extra kill, because why not? And as the Nexus falls as well, Winter Dragon take themselves their second win of the night.
That was really, really impressive, actually. And I found myself doubting it towards the mid-game. Once a few of those picks or pick attempts came through onto Strompest, he didn't die that much during this game. I think only once or twice. But when he did, it was within half a second. And it felt like that for him. And I'm sure it felt like that for everybody else on the side of Speedo J, because this game was played around really, really fast kills. We never got those protracted sort of fights that we were hoping for.
No, and I think that as soon as that Banshee's Veil came through, the game just turned on a dime. It was just really wise itemization from Strompest and said, hey, you know what, this is what's getting me killed, is not being able to, have a spell shield. I had a spell shield. I didn't die as often. Quite simple, quite logical, and it aided him enough to find the quick pickup and able to pretty much carry the game, right? Yes, we got to see an incredibly fed MF, but it was always Strompest, right?
Yeah, but there was a point in the middle of the game where I felt like it was anybody's game, and I couldn't quite figure out when we started departing from that, or what the key points in it were that ended up making that such a Winter Dragon favored one. And for that question, and that question specifically, I want to throw it over to our analyst desk to see what sort of sense they can make of what happened to be the chaos in the mid game.
Welcome back to the analyst desk, ladies and gentlemen. Dia is asking us to make some sense of the chaos that happened in the early game. But I think just like last time, gentlemen, a lot of the chaos that came in the middle of the game started in some of the early game issues that we saw either from draft or from some of the laning phases. So Bjorn, I know a couple things that you noticed in particular that you wanted to cover.
Yeah, I mean, I think that some of the early fights they were taking, I think were a little bit like I said, it was blue team's job to create those fights, but I think red team opted into fights that they really shouldn't have. All they needed to do was scale up, don't let LeBlanc get fed, and just you saw the mid matchup, she was down 30 CS. If they don't give her those free kills, they can starve her out of the game. And then the game is so much easier for red team. And the second side of that is blue team really needed to play more for objectives. They're going for these fights for kills, that's fine. But realistically, against a good team, what you're going to get out of those things are the objectives. You're not going to get these free kills, from a red team that should really not be fighting you.
Yeah, I agree. I think blue side did a really great job of finding the fights that they needed to find early, and red side also did a poor job of avoiding those. They should have been super aware about not falling into that trap. But I think blue could have easily accelerated the game after they got those early kills. I think they could have started stacking dragons a lot sooner. I mean, they still did do a good job, but I think it is really, really important scaling teams like red to make sure that you're farming the dragons super early, so that when they finally hit their item spikes, that's around the time that the soul is spawning for you to contest, and that's how you can really win with early game comps against late game comps. But it seemed honestly, blue had no problem scaling. They continuously won fights regardless of where the gold was at. So I don't know if that was a result of red poorly playing their comp or what it was exactly. I'm not too familiar with champs like Vex. But one thing that went into that is in the draft, I think it was really awkward to have basically two weak sides, top and bottom. They went with the Ezreal pick super early, which would have led me to believe that they're going to try to 5P top and try to play super hard at top side. Instead, they end up going with GP, who, while he is a lane bully, it's not really a lane that you can play to snowball off of. And then they had the mid counter pick that it didn't seem like it was crushing the LeBlanc. It didn't seem like that kind of counter pick. It was more just something that prevents the LeBlanc from being able to play the game that she wants to play. And so it didn't really work out for them. They didn't really have any damage. They didn't really have anything to play through. I would have liked to see, instead of the Ezreal, if they're going to commit to having a GP top, I would have loved to see an Aphelios. Aphelios could have hard carried a game like this. Or if you're going to go the Ezreal, I would have loved to see them just go 4P LeBlanc, take the LeBlanc away. Super valuable against Xin. super valuable against Ezreal. It's like a good takeaway from the other team, and it works well against the other champions. And then 5P top with one of Speedo's like carry champions like Fiora or Camille or something like that. I think the draft would have been great if they did that, but yeah.
Yeah, I think they could have done that. I also think though, like, so if they do that, I think they have to ban Vex. And I understand like it didn't seem that good in this game, but I also think that it wasn't played very well. Like I think that Wildfire needed to understand a little bit more about his job in fights. I think that he needed to play more around his team, and his team needed to play more around him. Like there were times where he was splitting away from his carry, and his carry was just getting dove by LeBlanc. But as long as they're playing around his fear, like that should never happen. That should be impossible to happen in a lot of the cases where it was. Like he's playing. I mentioned this like in the when we were watching, but it felt like he was playing it more like he's Ziggs or more like he's like Xerath and less like he's Lissandra, which is what he needs to do on that champion. And so that's
For sure.
like
Yeah. I think if he had just I'm right there with you. I think if he had just sat on Ezreal and stayed with the rest of the team and really just like denied the LeBlanc from being able to assassinate people, then team fights could have been fine. They had that one really amazing.
Which would have been better too
fight.
if they, if he didn't get the or if they didn't opt into those fights early, right? And like just give him or
exactly.
LeBlanc free scaling. So it just kind of snowballed in that sense.
For sure. It really felt like they were set up to sort of win that one fight where I think he like ulted in or flashed in or something, and then he got out with like a sliver of health around the dragon. I think it was like the third, maybe fourth dragon.
Flash in, dude. He walked in. I don't
just
want
walked
to like
in.
curse on screen. Sorry, but he walked in.
Yeah, I mean, if that didn't
walked in there.
Yeah, that seemed like a huge turning point where like the game became unwinnable after that, because that was a really important fight to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree.
All right, well, we've covered quite a bit of ground with this analysis, and I think you've already kind of touched on a couple of points that you guys want to see change, maybe a little bit better understanding on the Vex, a new champion for a lot of people, of course, and then a little more focus on the win conditions of draft. So is there anything else specific, Benji, that you're looking for in this final game for, maybe just one win from the other side? We're 2-0 for Team Winter Dragon right now.
I would just like for JayJ and Speedo's team to have like an actual win condition through drafts and to like fully commit to it. I didn't like this where they just had no strong side to play through and they had no like real direction other than hoping that they get to scale and their opponents don't like just take everything away from them. So I just want to see something. I mean, specifically, I really wanted to see Speedo playing like one of his champions, like Camille, Fiora, Irelia, something like that again.
He got the Irelia in the first game, right?
He did, yes, yeah. I wanted to see something like that again, honestly. I didn't. I know GP is a great champion, but I didn't love it. So,
yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've seen, as far as like what I wanted to see coming into this, I think I've seen a lot of what I needed to see. But yeah, I'm just hoping that. Well, are they? Do you know if they're switching sides this game, or if they're like do they switch each game? Is that how it works, or do they pick?
They will be switching once again. Yes.
Yeah, so I hope that when they're on opposite side this time, they can make it work. But we'll see how it goes.
All right, we'll have to find out. One more game remains in our best of three, block of three tonight for the Amateur Arena. So don't go anywhere. We've got one more exciting match to come to see if Team Speedo J can get anything out of this block or if it's just a Winter Dragoon diff tonight.
To hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the follow, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last Hearing voices from afar, join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions.
Welcome back, one and all. We are back on the analyst desk as we prepare for the final game of our 3-block here tonight on day 7 of the Amateur Arena. Biora and Benji still joining me, ready to get into our final game and see if Speedo Jay can finally get something going, gentlemen. It's been all winter Dragoon, all night long. We need something. I think we've had one day where a team has 3-0'd the entire block so far in Amateur Arena.
Really?
Yeah, I missed the last couple days of last week. I'd have to ask Dia. We'd have to see if I think Dia worked a couple of them, so we'll see if he saw a different one. But for the first like 5, we didn't have a 3-0. It was all 2-1s, and then we finally had one. So for me, this could be the second one.
That's surprising. I'm surprised that no one has gone 3-0 so far, actually. I feel like a lot of times in these like in-house kind of things, it usually snowballs. Like one team wins the first game, and then it's kind of just like mental boom sometimes for the enemy team. But
Yeah,
it's nice.
I feel like this is like really likely to be 3-0.
It seems like it, yeah. But I mean, some of it's based on draft too. So hopefully Speedo J can pull through.
Well, I don't think the bans are going to change anyone's mind outside of maybe the LeBlanc ban.
Yeah, they did win with like 2 different kinds of drops though. One where the burden was on them, and one where they were just scaling. So we'll see.
Curious to see what they do.
MF first pick, everyone just picks MF.
Could be another Ezreal into Ezreal.
Ezreal.
Oh, Lee Sin's banned. Sorry. So Ezreal, I don't know, something. Oh, okay. Maybe they're listening. Maybe get some Aphelios action.
Down for some Aphelios.
Oh, is he gonna do it? This is
Not
really risky. with
Zyra. Really?
This is a big
Zyra.
winter. This is a big winter tech pick right here. I haven't seen him take this blind. He takes this into Leona quite a bit, but I have not seen him take it blind yet.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I like that a lot more. Thank you. I was waiting for someone to just
I actually
off the ego and just
I
play
would
it.
like to have them save the support pick a little bit actually, and maybe pick a little bit later, because you can also get like Aphelios Lulu too, depending on what they pick, which could have been good.
True, but if you're gonna pick an Aphelios lane, like you probably want to play to it anyways. So the mentality is probably just not care about getting like more of a counter. It's like we're just gonna pick something weak side top, and we're just gonna go bot lane. I figure that's what'll happen. Might be surprised, but we'll see.
The
Thinking
5-fire Tryndamere comes back out.
interested to see that. Honestly, super excited. I don't think I've watched a pro Tryndamere game yet. You just played at Worlds as well, right? Pretty sure.
Yeah, a couple times in group stages, I think more in play-in stage, but I do know that 5-fire actually played this into LeenK early on day one of Amateur Arena. He played Tryndamere with a into LeenK's Karthus with Vaken playing Ivern, and they destroyed them.
Wow.
I mean, this Rise pick is really good for Red Team here. I mean, Rise is one of the better champions into this champ, so I think that I don't know if they're expecting to. I mean, they must have expected the counter. I mean, that's one of Strompest's most played champs, so I think that Strompest wins out in this matchup. Actually, I mean, I think that Tryndamere is going to get to do what he wants to in the lane, but I think that.
Just Strompest Rise at the end of the day, guys. It's a wrap from Jab Select. It's a game ender. Nobody locks it in. He's too dangerous on the Rise.
Echo Ban. That's a new one.
That's pretty troll.
Jarvan ban. I guess that makes sense.
Okay, are we gonna get the world's Poppy tech? Feels like it's pretty good into Tryndamere and Leona.
I love Poppy here, actually. Poppy would be a great pick.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it too, actually.
It is.
They still have a lot of flexibility in their red side draft, actually.
Yeah, I guess my only worry would be not having any real way to start a fight, but shouldn't be too much of a problem if
They
they
can
put
still
her on
draft
Rise
something that can
push.
start a fight, which is
They
the
could,
flexibility
yeah.
part. Like,
Totally, yeah. It's not necessary in this kind of draft anyways. It could be fine if they didn't, but it does feel like for amateur, not having a go button really hinders you. Cannon. Okay. Diego. Lots of options. I feel like blinding Kennen has to be pretty risky. I feel like the only reason he did it is because Darius is still up. He just knows that. Wait, it might. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because Darius is up. Ornn. I would love Ornn. It doesn't punish the Kennen at all. I would just love it. It would be so perfect with their comp. I would go as far as to say Ornn is a literal free win here.
well, no, I think it's good. It's good actually. I think there's some other options, but I think it's good.
Yeah, it just. I feel like it's just so easy to execute red side.
I really do think, honestly, both these games so far, it's been whoever has the easier team is winning, and that's like, I mean, you don't want to like draft to win these. I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. You don't want to necessarily like draft to win these amateur arena games in a sense. Like you want to draft the better. Like you want a good draft in a sense. But like if you want to win these games, just pick the easier comp. I swear. Like
for sure, yeah. But I don't think it's like winning these games that are. I think it was
right. That's kind of what I was saying. Like you don't really like. You
Yeah.
should not be playing to like win the games. You should be playing to play
For
your
sure.
best game, which is like
Yeah, so in that respect, I really like Blue Side's draft a lot more. I'm just very interested to see the Tryndamere.
Mhm.
If he like forces his team to play around him well, I could see it going super well. But
Mhm.
yeah, Red Side. I mean, they just have like winning bot lane. I'm not sure what happens mid. You said Tryndamere will just get prime for this. That doesn't make sense.
No, sorry, I meant.
you think-
So the way
Yeah, okay.
so I was talking to Alex about this the other day, and it should go pretty similarly to the way the top matchup goes, which is sorry, I'm a little bit distracted for reasons, but it should go. It should.
Yeah, I'd imagine Rise like
they
dunks
can't
on.
really do
Tryndamere.
anything to each other. Is basically the way it works. Like Rise
Okay,
should be
yeah,
able to
but
just do
Rise-
this, 'cause I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Tryndamere sustains through
Okay.
lane.
For sure, yeah. I think like Tryndamere is just super level based. I think like once he hits a certain level, like,
Right.
he just starts to one shot the wave with his spin. Probably, I would assume like level 7 would be like pretty good for him. Level 9, I think he literally one shots the casters. That's like not for a while. I mean, Rise is just gonna have full autonomy early game.
Yeah.
I think it'd be super easy for Red Side to set up like bot dives and stuff like that, or at least pressure them to the point where they're just ending up picking up like free dragons and free emerald rotates.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's like part of the reason why Orin is so good with Thresh Aphelios too. It's like when you have a tank top laner and you have Thresh Aphelios, anytime you quick gun combo, you can just force a lane swap because Aphelios just kills the tower so quickly. If you are stuck with like a carry top, if you have like a Jace or something like that, then it's impossible to do because Jace is just not going to be able to survive 1v2. So that also is like probably part of the reason why they felt so confident picking Kennen is like, I mean, if they properly counterpicked it with like a Jace or something, it would end the rest of it. So I think it does make some sense. I wonder
I
if
agree.
Rise could have gone versus Kennen. I remember Rise, I mean, this is from like years ago, but I remember
Pretty
Rise.
sure Kennen is too
such a good
strong now
matchup
for that
before.
matchup.
That makes
But
sense, yeah.
You might be
probably
right though.
should-
I'm not sure actually. It's changed. So I'm not sure. I'd have to talk
Mhm.
to the top laner. Yeah, I'm curious about that too.
So it sounds like pretty easy to execute comp coming in on the red side. Right? They got some priority from a couple of their lanes. You know, talk to me about the Poppy jungle. Is this purely for, you know, these mobile champions on the other end? Is it more about the
Yeah, for
setup
sure.
that this
For sure, for
champions
sure.
come back?
Yeah, I mean this is a counter pick. Like you can't just like blind this pick, but it's a counter pick to the champions they're putting on the board, like the Tryndamere, the Liviona. Like it's like a team comp counter pick, and it was like flexible too technically. Like depending on what they picked on 4-5, like they can still put this in other places too. So that's kind of what's going on there.
I don't know if it does like I do love Poppy as a counter pick, but I don't know if it does the greatest job of countering their team comp all around because like Viego is like pretty much unaffected. Tryndamere is affected, but like you're gonna block one of his spins, he's gonna auto you like 2 or 3 times and just get it back, and then like I mean I'm sure it's annoying to deal with, but
Well, the thing is, if you
it's-
block his spin though, like he's not getting on. He's slow. Like how he's not getting on you.
True.
So that's the main thing. It's like you know what I'm saying. Like, that's what's really going on.
Yeah. I mean, I'm interested to see how it'll play out for sure.
All right, so we got the Poppy in, we got the easy comp coming in on the red side, blue side going more for some of these picks. These, again, a little harder to execute, but still can absolutely win the draft. So what does blue side kind of need to win the game? Do they need to be out in front? Do they need to be getting Tryndamere fed alone? You know, how are they going to attack this very easy to execute comp that we've seen probably quite often before, I would say, coming in from Winter Dragon?
I think starting from like early game, I think that it's going to be really necessary for Viego to try and get a gank off on Thresh Aphelios. Usually what happens in these like Leona versus Thresh lanes is that Leona just wants to get like level 2 or 3 and just flash on the Thresh and try and like burn flashes early, because if the 2v2 plays out for too long, it can get... So I'm really looking for that to happen, and obviously on the flip side, hoping that red side can avoid that gank, knowing it should come. And then from there, they just need to make sure that like Rise is kept down a little bit and not able to get like super free roams off early, because it sounds like he's just going to get a lot of prio. They need to make sure that the game doesn't end off that prio, and they're super careful about, you know, getting stuck in fights where Rise is able to rotate easily and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's honestly, I think both comps are not super hard to execute. I think that right side has the easier one for sure, in my opinion, but I don't think it's that bad. Do you agree or no?
I think usually like the Thresh side is always a little bit harder to play. It's just like it requires you to not like fall into the trap of just like 1-for-1ing and stuff like that. And Leona can just easily engage and just go crazy. She's such a brainless champion. So I think in that regard, at least, it's going to be easier for blue side to like make the picks that they want to make. But it's going to be way easier for red side to lane. It just seems like they have really winning mid and bot, and then just like a completely stable top lane that I can't see can end up using Warren too hard. So I think they're easier. They're both easy to play in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so sounds like both sides will have the tools required to win this final game, but which one will come out on top? We still will have to wait for that answer. It's been Winter Dragoon all night. 2-0 is the series score for them. We'll see if Speedo J can finally put something on the board with this composition with 5 Fire on the Tryndamere. That game number 3, coming up to you in just a couple more minutes, so do stick around for the conclusion of the night.
Welcome back to the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, for Game 3, the final game of the day. Is we're going to see whether we get Speedo J find themselves a win today. It's been Winter Dragon Story, and definitely not undeservedly. These guys have been nuts. Adaptation has been the name of the game, and nothing is going to force more adaptation, Rudude, than that mid Tryndamere.
No, I can't wait to see how this one plays out. Obviously taken blind by Five Fire and answered with the sort of most well-established counter that does exist right now. The Rise has been locked in. Your ability to buy an Everfrost and then point and click CC the Tryndamere for seconds upon seconds. That means that him spinning around and causing a lot of damage to your team is slightly mitigated with all that CC that you pump on out, and particularly when it's Strompest with the Rise, we always have to add an extra layer of positivity to the draft that comes through for Winter Dragon. But obviously with Tryndamere mid lane locked on in, the Ghost already going to be burning through the movement speed if he can be. We'll have to wait and see if there's an advantage to be had there, or if Strompest will be able to keep him at bay.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about this, and even before the kills hit the table, even before any plays are made, it's already me going, alright, well, I'm expecting to look mid lane again for a lot of this, because there's a lot of excitement to be had in this matchup, whether it be from new picks or from old and storied ones. We'll check back in there in a second, but we got Misfortune, speaking of old and storied, revisiting the bot lane once more, and for good reason. We talked about the level 2 flash that, on the analyst desk rather, that Leona can just jump on Thresh with, but it doesn't seem like level 2 is going to be theirs first this time around.
No, they really should be able to establish 2 here. This is double ranged matchup here against one melee, one ranged, and right now Array doing a very good job with Winter at pushing these 2 back. You can already see Kyle forced to use a potion already. Array's got himself the red gun just as part and parcel of laning phase on Ophelio, so has just a little bit of extra sustain right there. The healing does add up. You get about 200 health back from all of, or rather about 100 health from all of your bullets. So it's nice, obviously, to keep yourself topped off there in the early stages. And with the level 2s coming through now down on the bot side, unfortunately the wave not quite managed well enough to find or force any aggression, and of course the respect being paid by Kyle and JayJ. Hook does come through, but obviously with them being so far under the turret, don't imagine that there's going to be all that much to be gained from it. Nice to see though, 19 from 19 in terms of the CS already, and a cheater recall should come through here if they're able to find it.
Now, with the way that the early lane has gone, at least for the Ophelio's Thresh, the thing that I'm always looking at is the jungle, especially because we talked about that wave state, and Perry has just made his way down to the bot lane, clearing out the wolves, but was crucially spotted doing the red buff, which I think is going to be really interesting to see how Speedo J end up reacting to that. LeenK definitely wants to get a little bit aggressive, not necessarily on the Viego, who, you know, isn't necessarily your early game champion of all, but I think specifically when we look at this player, I wanted to see that more carry-oriented style come through today, and while he's looked good, I could use that extra little bit of confidence here by seeing how his jungle pathing adapts to not just Perry, but to Strompest, who is way up here.
He goes for a ghost play here, and I mean, you can see there's a response, right? Perry's already here with the Poppy, but that's a flash.
Woo! Nice flash there from the Leona. Is going to land the stun, but instead, you can turn on to Perry. It's at the moment, there what should be a 3v2 with your mid laner coming over now, but a really, really nice hook landed from Winter is going to spell first blood in the other direction, actually, with Poppy landing yet another wall stun, and now a knockdown, drag out brawl in the mid lane. It is 1-1 at the moment, and it seems like that's all we're going to get, but once again, LeenK is going to commit, finding that kill. It's exactly what I asked of him, and it only gets better as they force Array to flash.
Okay, so 2 for 1 here, using Viego to his skirmishing possibilities here. Truly are providing a lot of sustain in those fights, and LeenK able to get himself extra, like 400 HP during that fight, keeps himself alive right there. The hook unfortunately going wide as well by Winter was the difference maker right there. That hook hits. Then we see Array able to dish out the damage, and he's able to find the kill, and Winter lives, but with it going wide, obviously that is not the case, and the advantage goes to Speedo J. So once again here, I feel like this has been a bit of a story of these games. Speedo J coming out to an early lead here with about a 700 gold gap with that extra kill, and it is on this Tryndamere, this mid lane Tryndamere as well, where he's got one of those kills, one of those assists in his back pocket, and this mid jungle 2v2, it's got a whole lot harder for Winter Dragon.
I like that he went for the Berserkers as well. I was expecting maybe some Merc treads to lay down over the CC of the Rise that we talked about and look to other items for that scaling, but obviously wanting to farm up those crits with the Berserkers. We'll see what he can do over there, as right now his exit's going to be stopped temporarily by the Poppy's steadfast presence, but very, very quickly with that E cooldown, Tryndamere is going to be able to get himself out of harm's way, and Fire at the very least staying quite safe for now. Might be able to turn this into another play, as once again JayJ is paying a visit, and this time I don't know if Parry's going to get out nearly as easily. Has to burn the summoner spell to get out over the wall.
Oh, but do they get another one here? Lantern's in the Poppy once again.
Big. This is actually massive. Misfortune not nearly as safe right now. Going to be able to get out, it looks like, but that hook's going to come off cooldown pretty darn quickly, and I don't think you want to skirmish over this one. You take the L where it lies, and really well played from Winter Dragon to find that clap back.
Yeah, this bot side is going very well for Array and Winter. They may be looking to compound on that as well right now. If you're anywhere near a wall versus a Poppy, that's bad news bears indeed. Looks like they were able to shepherd Kyle into the minion wave. Finds himself the little pickup of experience, but you can already see down on CS, definitely not in the best position in this laning phase. Up against the Thresh and Aphelios, may well expect it, but Leona MF no slouch themselves.
Not at all. These guys can and will blow you up, so we're going to keep looking towards that bot lane for a little bit more action, while mid lane actually seems to be quieting down. Now that the level 6s have been hit, Strompest doesn't want to 1v1 at all, and there's no reason for him to have to on the Rise, especially with the blue buff. He has got all the time in the world, all the cooldowns in the world, and all the range to be able to clear out these minion waves, while now the onus in this matchup starts to shift to Fire, who has the ability to roam out to exert jungle pressure, while Strompest is forced to clear under his tower again and again.
Yeah, keep on picking up those waves, and you can see though from this item build from Strompest, actually has no combat stats right now, simply mana in his inventory and a little bit of movement speed as well. Firefire's got himself a lot of movement speed, obviously very useful for the Tryndamere with the tier 2 boots, and also that added attack speed, gets crit from the passive, so in a 1 versus 1 we're expecting Firefire to be able to come out on top, and that's why you can see Strompest just paying in that respect, sitting back and saying, hey, let's just go for a little fight.
Oh, they don't make this play anyway, though. Actually, the stun does come through, but a Lantern to save him from Winter is going to come in clutch. Strompest is able to survive what was a lot of aggression in the mid lane from Speedo, Jay. And when I see that many members committed again into a mid lane skirmish, it makes me wonder, is this the only way that they're seeing that they win the game? To shut down this Rise, or rather, to get this Tryndamere ahead?
And it's really scary for that, if that is their mentality as well, because they're sacrificing this bot lane already. We've got Array who's already got this slight lead, and you might think that they'd want to try and help out that misfortune, maybe put that Aphelios down, slow down the snowball a little bit, but if that's not the case, that's certainly going to be a very scary time ahead on that side as well. It's also worth noting, and I'm glad that we got to pan up there, that we've actually got a topside matchup that is just going to be heavily favoured towards Speedo, Jay, right? Kennen into an Ornn. It's a range versus melee matchup. We're expecting early harass to go down. Kennen even starting out with the cull, so Speedo is going to be collecting a lot of gold in not too long a time, as that ticks on over 79 stacks already here, as we're only 7-8 minutes into the game right now. Looking pretty confident. Realm Warp into the bot lane though, and that's 2 people.
This is big. It's a play, and it's a kill under this tower. It's just a matter of time right now, as Leona is going to commit, but gets stunned by that Poppy once more. Actually, really nice flash to avoid that, as it seems like I called my chips, threw him down too early, Dude. It doesn't have to be a kill when you're able to have as much tankiness and mobility with the flash as Leona was able to right there.
Yeah, I mean, these guys watching too much Worlds, we're just burning all of our cooldowns into Aftershock Eclipse Leona, and right there, they don't find the kill. It looks like it should be a fairly easy one now. The benefit is that they do burn the summoner. That should be a quick pickup though. 1 for 1 here.
1 for 1 is really good, especially for Speedo J. Nice ultimate to force a flash out of Array as well. Calls parry all the way back down to keep the ADC safe. And even now, backing up all the way to the tier 1 turret, has to pay respect to the fact that at the same time as all that went down, Fire is also out of lane. And again, has the level 6 on the Tryndamere. It's never going away. So the tower dives are a very real possibility.
Need to see them get executed on though. The team fighting is something that we will come to later on. For now, of course, it is going to be those tower dives, as you mentioned. And in games before, we've said that tower dives need to come through, be it from Winter Dragon, be it from Speedo J, and we haven't really seen them all that much. I think that they've just got so much agency with this Tryndamere now. I'm going to be very disappointed if we don't see those dives unless we can, see some sort of positioning. The issue with these dives, though, and this is what I have to sort of counter that fact, is hey, we're looking to try and dive a lane, right? We're not pushing in bot lane because Array's got 3 kills. We don't have priority down there. Yes, we're pushing in top lane, but that's an all, and that's a hard kill to find on its own. Where are we going to dive exactly with this Tryndamere? Yes, you're finding these CS leads, and yes, you're going to be able to maneuver yourself around the map, be a bit of a force later on. But for the time being, that's where your advantage ends. There's nothing else to be gained from this Tryndamere just yet, unless you can find it in the mid lane yourself.
Right now, Strompest is doing really well at being able to avoid that sort of conundrum, with LeenK once again paying him a visit. The Rift Herald is going to be the only additional source of gold inside of this lane, and it's a good thing too, as it will put the tower on its last legs, very close to being taken down now, and the dive is considered, but ultimately called off once again as Strompest positioning really, really well, and in a way, the counter matchup is good, but the experience of Strompest on Rise is even better.
Yeah, I mean, he has Ghost, has Flash, feels completely safe in this mid lane matchup. Even now going to step forward just a little bit to try and find a plate back for himself.
Nice.
Does so successfully there. But we can already see 5-Fire very close to this mythic, be it Kraken Slayer, be it Gale Force. I imagine it's going to be the Gale. No Flash on Kyle. They burned it this time around. They're going hard.
All right, this time the cleanse gets burned off of Kyle, and with the channel of the ultimate back, it doesn't look like he finds a kill just yet. Still is going to go down there. The last auto does it, and with the lantern as well, it's going to be carrying Poppy out to safety. Strompest on his way out to safety as well is going to be just fine, but inside of the jungle, Winter Dragon are finding even more kills just now. LeenK clapping back on that as the steadfast presence is only going to stop so much, and over the wall now, Orin is isolated in a 1v3. LeenK jumps forward to finish off the kill onto Perry, and this Viego is really, really getting going.
Okay, so they find the dive onto one, but it's just a good retaliation from Winter Dragon, and Speedo J, more importantly, able to find a couple quick pickups in response. I think they pick up 3 in exchange for all of that there. I thought that was the wrong lantern to try and get the Poppy out as opposed to pulling your Aphelios in to finish it off. Turns out it was absolutely fine. If Array takes that lantern, he's going to go down in the dirt and join the rest of the team, but still 3-0 here, able to find himself with a Gale Force now in his back pocket, but the kills are going into very, very scary places if you're an Aphelios. 1 on the Tryndamere, 3 on a Viego. That is not what you want to see when you're looking at this from the AD carry perspective.
And I'm glad that we got 1 on Speedo as well. Up on the top lane with that cannon, the only source of magic damage on his team. Him being a relevant source of it is so ridiculously important right now, and that kill is going to boost him up for the ensuing team fights. Though that was a big one, it did not result in an objective, and we still got to wait around what this dragon has for us. And right now, it's going to be LeenK fighting with his completed Divine Sunder, and you very quickly discover as Winter Dragon that you did not want that fight.
Now they're going to lose another one. Another double kill goes over, and just more and more fuel to the fire here. Speedo J finally starting to show that they can potentially force some advantages, pick up some kills, more and more advantages going over, and they're starting to extend that lead here. The bot side of the map was always going to be a bit of the question mark, with Kyle being put a little bit further down relative to his Array counterpart, but with this Viego neutralizing that for the most part, the top side has been a bit of an island outside of those TPs, and it's been going very well for Speedo. With this cannon, has obviously the counter and knows that he's able to find himself a decent advantage over Dragoon. So with this top side going well enough for Speedo J, all they need to do is keep leveraging this Viego advantage on the bot side, and this game will play itself. The neutral objectives haven't really been touched just yet. Obviously, 1 Herald has gone down. We've got a second one spawning in less than a minute, so we'll have to see if there's more action around there. But there's a Cloud Drake up on the table that nobody's really care about.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually that we don't see at least some small level of priority given to it, because yes, Cloud Drake may not be the most impactful thing, but it's often quite a nice little boon to pick up, and there's been plenty of skirmishing around the bot lane to bring that one into attention. But instead, it's been always seeming to convert into kills in the bot lane, as we take a look at them right now, and it's quite calm. The calm before the storm, perhaps, in this bot lane, with the tower very, very low. I have no doubts in my mind that Winter Dragon will be making their return here soon, but first and foremost, Speedo J are going to get the Primo Tower.
Okay, nice flay there. Interrupt.
All right, well, we called a call before the storm in the bot lane, and Winter gonna go down there once more, giving another kill over to LeenK, and that is exactly what you had to fear there. Showing Poppy in the mid lane, LeenK knows that there is no possible answer to his extremely fed highness.
Nice to see that Firefly is trying to pick up the money elsewhere, though, but Perry is nearby. Undying range up and available means that, you know, Firefly are most likely going to be safe here, but doesn't want to be burning that ulti for nothing regardless. Picks up the cannon minion, dashes back out to safety, about as good as it gets, but kill on the bot side. Drake on the bot side as well for Speedo J again. More advantages going over to them that aren't being answered on the other side of the map.
Yeah, that dragon, really, really important. We talked about it earlier. And again, though the Cloud Dragon seems at first glance to be something that you can kind of ignore, the fact is that getting it picked up, especially for the likes of LeenK and Fire, even Speedo, the marginal CD that it gives you. Oh man, I was excluding Kyle. The marginal CD that it gives you on your ultimate, the point is really, really good for the playmaking of Speedo J. And given that they're already snowballing this game really, really well, this is exactly what you need to pick up that last game of the night as a win.
Yeah, and just the way that ability haste works, right? So early on, when not many of the players have it, that first 10 ability haste, first 12 ability haste is the most impactful. Shuts your cooldowns down by a large amount, and is obviously going to be very useful to have as that first dragon here for Speedo J. They do lose mid tier 1 in response, as a nice push from Strompest here has been able to kind of handle the laning phase from now. Finds himself able to take down that turret. A little bit of help comes through, obviously, from Perry, but weird to see both of our mid-tier ones falling before our top lane ones, most notably with the cannon pushing quite aggressively. Nice to see that that turret is still resembling some sort of bastion for the Ornn on the top side so far. Dragoon doing a pretty good job at clearing the way before it gets there, as he's gotten tankier and more able to withstand this cannon push. Have to wait and see if he burns TP to get back to this wave to defend it, or he's going to rely on Strompest. Nice rotations from the Winter Dragon squad to make sure that everybody's getting to the right place at the right time, and maybe Perry's in the wrong spot though.
I want to call out exactly what we talked about up in the top lane. Remember, of course, guys, that this is amateur arena. These guys don't play with each other on a team that much. This is a lot more about, showcasing your individual skill. But when you can coordinate something like that, saying, hey, my top lane's actually going to be in trouble right now. Can you come up and cover me? And actually have that work, especially for Strompest, who I'm sure has a lot of other things to do on the rise as well. I like that after 3 games, Winter Dragon's communication has definitely taken a step upwards and does benefit Dragoon, at least for now, although he may be in a little bit of trouble with 4 people visiting him in the bot lane.
It's a lot of gold here for an outer turret, so I'm not surprised to see this big commitment. And obviously Ornn provides a lot of CC, but doesn't provide a whole lot of damage on back, particularly when there are 4 people to try and choose from. But once again, what's happening on the other side of the map here? It is going to be the Rift Herald expended, and the top tier 1 falls. So overall, this is still a trade positive for Speedo J, since they got 2 turrets down on the bot side, and obviously a much better turret as well.
Wow.
Everfrost hit, but Speedo's still there.
Yeah, that was kind of spooky for a second, as it looked like Assassin Kennen was going to come through, but instead it's assassinated Kennen. And now, with a really nice exhaust going down onto LeenK, it seems like the bleeding has been stemmed from Winter Dragon. Nice ultimate from Misfortune to layer across the top. Doesn't quite hit the corner of the bush right there, and it's going to be a back away from Speedo J, having lost a member. They still get to hang on to a lot of their cooldowns. They burn an exhaust, but the re-engage with that hook spells yet another kill, and that is an unfortunate loss.
Looking for the Ornn as well right now. Nice use of the Heartbreaker there. Finds his unstoppable timing and does get out to safety. Now they're using Realm Warp, going to look for a bit of a rotation kill here. See if they can pick up Kyle, but he's got Misfortune passive. Going to be able to strut to safety here. The one thing that we've talked about for Winter Dragon here, or that we didn't talk about, but that we need to, and quite clearly now, is yes, they're losing a lot on the top side, and yes, this Viego is very scary for them, but so is Array here. 5 and 0, has 2.5 completed items, a full item over his counterpart right now, with that Lord Dominic's Regard fully completed here. Going to be providing him some nice armor shred up against the Leona and up against higher HP targets. There aren't that many that are building so much HP just yet, so not going to be getting full value out of that one for the time being, but when the Seeker's Arm Guard comes through, when maybe a Frozen Heart or a Randuin's or something like that comes through from someone else, that is when they are going to start hitting hard.
We're going to be excited for that, as I love seeing Aphelios' pop the heck off, but at the same time, we gotta take it a little bit scared, as LeenK is going to want to get on top of him. So is FiveFire, and it is a lot to peel. There is a lot for Winter to do this game. Strompest is going to have to help him out, and right now, it's all Dragoon can do up in this top lane to keep the Tryndamere at bay, not pushing into the tower, not pushing into the jungle. One of those is going to be taking some nice damage. Winter forced to flash in the bot lane. LeenK already on top of him. Might just be the end of the support, but I'm surprised that they don't prioritize Array, who is totally safe back here. His support goes down. A nice Inferno Bolt finishes off a kill, though, and this is Array popping off when you underestimated him the most.
Could have been a Penta here, honestly. We got to see Kyle slither away right there. Perry takes down FiveFire, and you talked about it here. They need to focus his Aphelios. I mentioned it to begin with, that this guy very, very scary. They're not going to touch him. He's going to deal an immense amount of damage. The Inferno Bolt comes down, nukes down 2 players, almost able to take down Kyle as well. It's a single flash to safety that keeps him alive, and I think that the Locket or heal or something coming through does the rest of the job. But now with Realm Warp into the Baron Pit, still 5 members strong. This one's going to go over him without too much contest either.
No, nothing you can do about it at this point. Red, white shoes through this, and definitely with the backup of the rest of the team. Baron is gone. Earliest Baron we've had so far, and Array is super, super huge right now. The last fight, I'm sure, has reminded Speedo J of the real stakes of this game, and I want to see how much they course correct and how Winter Dragon play against the, what I'm assuming is going to be very renewed and vigorous focus onto an Aphelios.
And I certainly imagine that's going to be the case as well. Something that we saw from this game itself was that there wasn't that much focus on the Dragon. So you can see with this second Drake going over at 22 minutes, it's very late to have your second Drake and your first, Soul Dragon spawning here. Neither one of these teams particularly close to picking up their own win condition from the bot side of the map. So this is, trade of objectives. If I suppose for Speedo J, the neutralizing of tempo. Okay, FiveFire's going in.
Seems inconvenient for FiveFire, but he does end up taking the fight. It was worrying there to see the initial layering of CC come down for Strompest, but even with that 1v1 being won, FiveFire is still losing an inhibitor, and the double split push right now seems to be the strat for Speedo J. Will it work? Only time will tell, Rudude, but what do you think?
I mean, it's looking pretty good right now, honestly. You sacrifice 1 mid lane inhibitor, you get yourself a big kill on the top side, you get a nice objective as well in the bot side, I believe. Or not objective on the bot side, Speedo able to find a lot of farm, though. And I don't think they're ever winning a 5v5, particularly without Strompest at their side. So with that in their back pocket, I think that overall, Speedo J going to be quite happy, honestly, with this trade. That inhib going down is not the best situation for them to find themselves in, but they're going to get funneled all of this gold, and the question now becomes, can Winter Dragon find more from this Baron? And if they can't, then that inhibitor going down is really just going to fuel Speedo J's comeback.
All right, so let's talk about the next team fight and what that should look like for Speedo J. You talked about you talked about the comeback there. Go ahead.
It's kill Array. That's the team fight. If you don't kill Array, you don't win the team fight, right?
What's the best way of killing Array?
Okay, we flank. We pick vision and we try and get a different angle in, because we've got Speedo on this cannon, right? Cannon never wants to be marked, doesn't want to be shown where he is. You can see as well Speedo coming around on a flank angle from the back side, but nice to see that we've got Winter using Lantern to safetily bring this guy out to safety.
And with all of that, even with the flank coming through from Speedo, really nicely spaced from Winter Dragon, means that there's no actual way to get on top of him. FiveFire once again chasing down Strompest. I'm sure giving him some flashbacks, but as LeenK pops right on top of Ray, he instantly gets CC'd and almost taken down under the tower. Dragoon just now disengaging, as there's another threat in the backline they got to be worried about. Speedo still looking for a way in. We'll see which way this ends up going. There it is! FiveFire once again finding the 1v1, but still, is the rest of his team is unable to actually kill the Aphelios.
Yeah, come this way, Mr. President. We will escort you to safety as the team just walks him back up through top lane. They're going to find those resets, but Firefire not to be trifled with here in the mid lane. Has 3 completed items, has been farming up a storm this game, and can be a carry threat. If we ever see Firefire get into a side lane where he's able to find some objectives, find some structures, they're going to melt like butter as well. So you need to be careful so far. This game may look like it could be a one and done deal here with Array at the back. But we've all been in games, dear, where Tryndamere just ruins your day, and I think that this one could well be the same for Winter Dragon, as Firefire trying to do his best to put Speedo J on his back.
Yeah, it's another 1-3-1, and I really like the way that Speedo J are continually forcing this, even if they can't push it all the way up to the towers. Just keeping minions past the halfway point is already doing a lot for them. Even more farm is starting to fall now towards Kyle, as you already mentioned, the inhibitor being down is a really, really big part of that. And with all of that, the one thing left to control for Winter Dragon is the jungle. They're clearing out as much vision as they can, trying to make these side lanes not a safe place to be. But with Fire long gone, at least the investment towards the bot lane isn't coming to too much just yet.
You can see that they've rectified their mistakes, okay? We can't leave Strompest to deal with Firefire. He's just too strong at this point, has got past the stage of this CC being in any way important, and now they're just grouping up. And this is exactly what I want to see from them. If they're looking to use Array to be this, big carry force, they can just do that by grouping up as 5, and they're definitely looking to do that for the time being. But B, if they take this massive focus onto Array, Strompest is actually fairly strong on this rise. Yes, he can't deal with the Tryndamere, but 2.5 completed items rises a massive teamfight presence. If they are able to stick together, finding that teamfight could be a very easy road to success, particularly since they've already broken the base. Inhib going to respawn fairly soon here, probably another minute or 2 on that one. But once it does come back up, if we see a big fight goes Winter Dragon's way, they've got easy access to re-break open the base and start applying more pressure through mid lane again.
Yeah, Winter Dragon are very close to making this a 3-peat, as they do end up taking away the dragon, getting ready to more than likely go in for another surgical operation. They keep doing this thing where they'll get eyes on Fire and go in, take a single tower, make sure that he's not going to kill Strompest, and then come back. They did it once in the bot lane, and now it seems like they're setting up for that once again, but this time towards the inhibitor tower in the bot lane of Speedo J. Blue side having a lot to deal with right now.
Look at this TP flank as well. We've got Speedo coming in from one side, Firefire's on the other. They're getting routed.
This is really good, and it's the one chance that you have to get on top of Array. The Lantern gets interrupted, and Speedo's already on top of him. Really nice hammer, though, takes Fire all the way out, and though the GA is popped, Array is still alive while the team fight continues forward for Winter Dragon. The Infernal ult comes in, nearly decimating everybody in its path, and Speedo J are sent back to their base with their tail between their legs.
Oh, that was as good as it looked, dear. That was the best situation they were going to get there, and they don't find it. Flank from all 3 sides. Firefire's proxying the wave, so damage control right now by Speedo J, but they go for this massive fight, and they still can't find it. GA comes up huge Lantern and Keeper's Verdict. 2 massive disengage tools that attempt to keep Array alive, and as we say, pops the GA, but that's exactly what it's there for.
Perry went absolutely massive that game. Like, imagine just a Tryndamere sitting on top of your Aphelios while he's respawning. The fight goes vastly differently, but because of all that ground that he had to cover, it was just amazing. And like you say, the Guardian Angel, obviously a really big part of that as well, but I look at that, I look at Poppy, and I go, you get my honor this game. That was real solid stuff. And hey, it keeps them in a commanding position in the game as they continue to close in and choke out Speedo J over the time. We'll see if Speedo J can set up another play similar to the one that they just had, because it was the right track that they were on, but it's going to be very difficult to do so, especially now with pushing all the way up to the inhibitors. Winter Dragon seem like they want to close this one out.
Got the Baron at their backs now off the back of that fight, and you can just see Array can even put down his sniper gun to start to dish out the damage. First inhib falls. That wave is going to get killed off in the top lane here, but the cannon minion survives, stand strong, so maybe able to make a bit of a siege off the back of that. They've also got a very tanky Ornn.
Oh my lord! Wait, this actually might determine a lot. We'll check back in with the mid laners up there. As Strompest does have to back away for now. A full bullet time does almost
Tickles.
nothing to anyone, and instead, having attracted a little bit of attention, it's going to be Kyle that ends up going down very quickly, followed by his support JayJ, and this looks like it's going to be the end there. Fire trying to take the inhibitor right now is going to end up forcing the Zanyas as the Undying Rage expires. Finally, Strompest gets to clap back, having not lost a single member yet for this end push. They want to try and take down LeenK. Winter Dragon want to make this a clean win, their third one of the day, and that it is certainly going to be. Nexus now under fire, and it is going to be a real nice showing for Dragoon, Perry, Strompest, Array, and Winter on the day.
Yeah, 3-0 here, just toying with their food a little bit, as Array going to pad those DPS numbers, pad the CS, plus 50 as well to the Aphelios. 11-0 and 3 here, dear. An absolutely tremendous game coming out of the Aphelios up against a Viego that had 6 kills in the early stages, up against a Tryndamere that was picking up side lane kills left, right, and centre, but still able to find the win in the end. And again, great pick in terms of being able to provide safety with the Thresh and the Poppy, and in those team fights, we just saw him go absolutely huge.
Yeah, amazing stuff, and I think that the team fights, the win condition recognition, it was all there for Team Winter Dragon. I really appreciated getting to see it put into play, but my curiosity lies in behind the scenes. What our analysts thought of the ways that Speedo J could have wrestled that game away for themselves instead, because it was very close for a little while until we really got Array starting to take off. So I'm going to toss this one over to our analysts, see what they thought of how that game went, and then we'll come back with a very short interview.
Welcome back to the analyst desk, ladies and gentlemen, as we have wrapped up the games on the night. And, I was saying it before that we haven't seen a lot of 3-0s. Well, Biora was right. We get the full 3-0 coming through. Is Dragoon Winter once again pull out a win, this time largely behind Array, who goes nuts on the Aphelios, and he finishes 11-0 and 3. And that's kind of just been the theme of the night, gentlemen. It has just been pretty dominant and pretty controlled team performances from Dragoon Winter.
I feel like you go. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
I was just gonna say I was really happy to see in the final game for Winter and Short Hop to switch up their matchup and play the Aphelios, because it felt weird that both sides were like just picking the Ezreal into MF, but I think Thresh Aphelios can really dominate an MF lane, and that's exactly what they did. They double killed them, or maybe not double kill, but they definitely like crushed lane. I think they got a kill on Leona at some point in the early game, and they just seem to do a really good job of snowballing that as well. So props to them. They played really well the whole series.
Yeah, a lot of the things that I wanted to see from the teams, for the most part, I saw. Or at the very least, like if I didn't see it, I saw something else that I didn't I didn't necessarily come in wanting or premeditatively wanting to see, if that makes sense, or like expecting. But then when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I had a good time watching. I hope it was. Hope the players had fun tonight.
Yeah. Also, my bad. I said Short Hop. I meant Array. I'm getting the names so confused because everyone's on different named accounts. But
Flipping
it was
back
so
and
hard
forth,
to keep
3
track
games.
of the players.
It was really confusing.
Teams, actually,
guys, if you're in these things, you should really make your name just like the name that you play under. It's a huge play.
Well, that can bring us to our wrap-up point, Benji. Outside of the naming conventions, is there any advice you have for these players as these in-houses continue, as the offseason continues? Just one piece of advice from yourself to the players as they're getting themselves ready for the 2022 season.
Just keep doing these in-houses. Honestly, I mean, this is one like this thing you guys are doing here at AOE is really good, actually. It's one of the best scouting sort of events that are happening right now outside of the the tournaments. So good job, guys. Happy to participate.
And Biora?
Agreed.
Oh, I mean, I just spoke. So.
Oh, I'm sorry, Benji.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, same vibes. I mean, just playing in houses and stuff like that is really valuable, because solo queue has strayed like so far from competitive play over the last few years. It's just a world of difference. So Yeah, no like specific advice or anything, but yeah, keep on keeping
All
on.
right. Well, sounds good, gentlemen. Well, with that and with the end of our game 3, that'll wrap up the series for the night. So that'll do it for us on the analyst desk, but we still have one piece of content left for you. Our caster is going to have an interview with, if I'm not mistaken, JayJ. So we're going to throw it over to Dia and Rudu to bring us home.
All right, hello. It looks like we're here. So welcome, JayJ, to the interview segment of the day. We had the chance to see you perform on the Rift, but now I want to ask you a few questions to get behind the scenes, because Amateur Arena, it's a little bit of a different task than your regular, I guess, run-of-the-mill league games during the season. You got to synergize very quickly with a lot of players that come from all sorts of different backgrounds, and I wanted to know sort of what that process was like for you guys today, and where you felt it went really well, where there are some bumps that come up as you try and synergize as 5 people.
Yeah, it's definitely, like you said, a pretty different experience. I mean, obviously, like, we've never played together really, except like I found out I was going to play with Kyle today, so I played like 2 duo queue games with him on Smurfs before the matches, but it's obviously nothing compared to Ray and Winter, who played together for like, I think, most of the year, or like the latter half of the year. So yeah, it was pretty difficult. I think got to show like individual skill here and there with like our skirmishing and some of our rotations, but definitely when it came to team stuff, it was pretty hard to like get on the same page, since we all have different ideas about like how we want to play, and yeah, it was a bit difficult to adjust to for sure.
But it's nice to see, obviously, people coming in. Obviously, for yourself, 0-3 on the day, it's nice to see that obviously still in high spirits and feeling pretty good about everything. Is this for you? I want to sort of, I guess, gauge a practice area. Is this for you to showcase yourself, or is this to just keep your foot in the slightly competitive well of League of Legends in the off season?
Yeah, I think it's just good to stay, I guess, like you said, kind of like fresh and still keep like that competitive mindset, because when you play solo queue, it's really easy to just turn off your brain and like run around and try to kill people, but when you're playing these matches, at least people are a little bit more focused on objectives and trying to actually put together some team play. So it definitely does still feel like advanced solo queue in a way, but it's much better than just straight up solo queue.
And then obviously you've got experience coming out of your ears at this point, right? Do you find yourself being a leading shot caller on these teams, or do you like to try and give a bit more responsibility to other people to say that that's room for them to develop as well?
I think a lot of these games I was trying to call what we should do, but sometimes it didn't work out, or we were just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and like we were getting caught a lot, so it ended up not working out too well. But yeah, I think you could tell the players with more experience were trying to lead more. So like me and Fire, I think we're calling a lot more than the rest of the guys. Not to say they weren't saying anything, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see some pretty good plays from you guys, I would say. Like, again, even though things may not have gone exactly the way that we planned for the 3 games, it was, I think, a lot closer in the mid games. I think Rudud and I were saying quite a bit that there was a lot of skill expression there still, and I see the Amateur Arena as a way to test things out and to show us what you have. And I got to see the Braum, the Rel, and the Leona from you today, and I really liked the Rel, by the way. I thought you had some amazing engages, but my question is, what didn't we get to see today that we might be able to look forward to from future JayJ appearances?
I don't know. I guess I didn't get to show off my entire champ pool, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I can just play a lot more stuff that I didn't get to show. I like to play Thresh a lot. I like to play Bard a lot, and those champions weren't really, or they were meta during the season, but I didn't get to play them a lot, so that kind of sucked. So maybe I'll get to play them tomorrow in the in-houses. We'll
That'd
see.
be pretty exciting. I'll be crossing my fingers hoping for a Bard. You know that we all like the slightly chaotic energy that Bard brings to the Rift. I'll be looking out for you tomorrow, and thank you so much for joining us in the interview today and for giving us some great League of Legends to talk about.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, well, Rude Dude, that's going to be it for us. I've had a great time on the Amateur Arena. I want to give a thank you to you for casting games alongside you, but also to our amazing analyst desk and production behind the scenes, to the players for bringing us some great League of Legends, and to all of you for tuning in to watch them. This has been AoE's Amateur Arena, and we'll catch you next time.